Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Science Saturday, the return of Science Saturday with Alex Murray. I am your host, Alex Murray, also known as AZ Axel. I hope my audio is not too loud. I am very, very pumped and excited for this. I am so glad you guys are all here. It has been a long... I know this is like every time we do a Science Saturday, it always starts with me explaining that it's been a long time since we have had a Science Saturday. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the return of Science Saturday. If you have no idea what this is, which I'm assuming most of you do not know what a Science Saturday is. Because this has been going on since the beginning of the year, off and on, depending upon whether or not I had time. We would do Science Saturdays, where we would take a Saturday afternoon around this time every single Saturday, and we would experiment with different PT strategies, OOTP strategies, creation information. We would look into a whole bunch of strategies and setups and league creation, how to make leagues, how to do editing. Basically, this was a tutorial. It was a 1 to 2 hour tutorial stream about anything and everything OOTP, and we finally get to see it return again. So I'm very happy that you're all here. Very, very happy that you're all here today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and for anybody who's watching this, for people who are here live in Twitch, you can get drops today. You should be getting drops today. I'll be honest, I have no way to check. That's on Rich. So I'm assuming that they are live and that you guys are getting them. And if not, let me know and I will ring some bells and make sure that works. But you guys should be getting drops for this stream. We are playing OOTP 21, so you guys will be getting drops. And our stream, as you can see, the title for today is episode 1 of the Backyard Project. The Backyard Project was an idea I had about 3 weeks ago. Good. If drops are good, awesome. Then I don't worry about that then. So, the Backyard Project was an idea I had about 3 weeks ago involving the importation of the Backyard Baseball video game, which was back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. If anybody remembers that game, you'll know that it's probably, if not one of the best baseball games ever created, outside of course, OOTP. I'm kind of paid to say that, but I'm also saying that out of my own heart because I love this game. I came from the community, just like a bunch of you guys are, to come on to technical support for OOTP, and I have years and years of playing this game. I routinely play about 1,200 to 1,500 hours of OOTP a year, every single time that it comes out. So those are my credentials, basically. I know this game inside and out. I know what I'm talking about to an extent. And Science Saturday is a way for us to be able to give you guys just a glimpse of that knowledge and diving deeper and deeper into how to play the game better for your own individual selves. So, let's go ahead and give you guys a view of the game, shall we? I think that's probably the first place to start. So, the Backyard Project was something that, again, I came up with about 3 weeks ago. And let's go ahead and just dive right into it because this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. This is going to be 18 teams. 18 teams, all custom. I've been able to get some really good help from the forums community for more jersey slots when. Dude, you and me both. You and me both, Cardinal. I would love to see more jerseys, more customizations. In fact, I'd prefer to see a completely redone jerseys and logos and colors page. I think that'd be fantastic. 18 teams because we weren't going to make the required pitcher amount, so I scaled back the league from 20 to 18. There are no teams in St. Louis, I'm afraid not. I think there's technically, well, Well, there's one team in Missouri, I believe, but there's no teams directly in St. Louis. So yes, this is going to be an 18-team league. We're going to be doing a review of all the teams so you guys can see them. And then I'm hopeful that you guys can pick a team that you want to root for directly before or after your players get picked for a team. Because at this point, we already have someone here for the Goats. Of course, you're going to be rooting for the Goats when you're, that's literally in your username. Oh, good grief. Salem is technically the Boston team. Yes, that is the Massachusetts team for this league. So I guess we'll just start running through teams as we see fit. So the easiest way to be able to do this is just to go through each team's homepage. Now, we have customized a ton of this league, guys. Almost everything about this league is customized. So you guys are going to notice a lot of stuff that's going to be very hand edited in regards to these teams and this league. Every single logo is found from the forums. I think those are all Lowe's. Is the user who ended up uploading all those. So thank you so much to Lowe's for the logos, jerseys, ball caps, everything. Almost everything comes from him. That's fantastic. But this is the Bismarck Mythics. They are going to be playing in Mythics Park, and you will notice that if we go to 3D models as well, we have custom stadiums. So not only do we have custom logos and custom uniforms, we will also be having custom stadiums. Every single stadium is created, edited, and adjusted to be fitting towards every single team that plays in each stadium, okay? And that makes them very, very cool and very, very fancy. So this is going to be a whole lot of custom work and a lot of custom stuff. So I'm hopeful that you guys like that. I'm hopeful that this can show off just a little bit of what the game can do in single player mode. Some of the ads are a little bit recognizable, unfortunately. I may have to edit those. But anywho, the Mystics, these are going to be their jerseys. They're going to be using their bright pink jersey with their whites. A lot of teams are going to be using the away jerseys actually as their home jerseys, and then their home jerseys as their away jerseys. So we flipped it. Yeah, you gotta fill out the form. I mean, this is gonna be a fun league. I hope you guys like this. There are Canadian teams. There is no Canadian Tire, although I don't know about that. I don't know if that's an actual name, company up there or not. I'd have to see. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a stadium for Sandlot. I'm so sorry, Rockets. I could not find like an actual legitimate stadium that that had sand all across the entire thing. The forum, unfortunately, has been closed. So we closed the forums for submitting players this morning. We have one extra player. We filled up our entire league. We have one spare player that's going to be filling whatever spot we need or whatever we want to do. We might even just delete that player if it's a generic player. So unfortunately, if you missed the opportunity to get a player in, we are unfortunately at the end of our submission time for that. We will not be accepting any more players for right now. There may be, however, a potential. Who is it? I don't know. Most of the time it's Cindy Chang, because she has absolutely no hitting in the game. And yes, there is going to be a draft. So the problem is that we already have filled up the draft for this year. So what potentially could happen down the road, if this becomes a really good stream and, this becomes a nice series, we may do a season 2 and do an expansion. Because at this point, that is the potential for down the road. We could have done more pitchers. That is true. I guess I should probably talk about the logistics of the league first before showing it off. So there are 235 players. We're going to be having 13 players per team. 8 fielders and 2 starters and potentially up to 3 relief pitchers. All right? Oh, you can't remember the name of your player. Oh, dear, that's not good. Excuse me. I think you're in the game, Nicolino. If you submitted a player after we announced the submissions, you should be in the game. I did have to do some edits to the form from before when we were doing testing, but I think you're in the game. I think you're still in the game at this point. So there's 235 players. Now, I guess I should also talk about the types of players we have, because that's actually very true. There are 4 different categories for players in this game. All right? We're going to have, of course, our backyard baseball players. They range from... Let me see if I can sort of... I can't really sort it by overalls, unfortunately. But I want to show you guys Pablo Sanchez at least. So they will range from Pablo Sanchez, a.k.a. Secret Weapon. This is one of the best players in backyard baseball sports. This is one of the best players in the game. In fact, I looked at overalls, I glimpsed at them, and then turned them off because I don't want you guys seeing overalls. Those don't mean a thing in this league, guys. Overall really does not mean a thing. Pablo Sanchez is one of the best players. Is one of the best players in the game. Now, anybody who has played the original game knows that it's actually easy to strike Pablo Sanchez out. Pitch him on the corners, and you can get him out. Unless he opens up or closes his stance. Then he can hit it. But he can only hit about down the middle and a little bit towards the edges. But if you hit the edges, you can actually get Pablo Sanchez out. And that's just me saying that from years of experience playing the original game in 2001, 2003, 2005. I've played a lot of these games. I didn't know about it until 5 minutes ago. Oh, I'm so sorry, Tohan. We tried to broadcast it in the Discord. If you weren't in the Discord, I'm pretty sure that was where we did it sometimes. We also announced it on the streams, in like 1 or 2 of the streams. Why is he so bad at first base? Because he's short. Because Pablo Sanchez was always kind of a smaller character. So unfortunately, his height is the only limiter for his first base ability. Otherwise, as you can see, I have given all of the baseball players from the generic kids and the backyard baseball players every single position, except for catcher occasionally, because I don't want some people being shoved into catcher, because the game somehow had a really high tendency to just throw somebody in catcher. So Pete Wheeler, one of the fastest players in the game, very good in the outfield. He's also pretty tall, so he can play first base, but I assume everybody's going to have... Whoever drafts him is going to be putting him in center field. These are not player-created submissions. No, that's correct, Thumper. These are all the backyard baseball kids. These are all of the default kids that were in the original game. They have Keisha Phillips in the game. We'll have him. We'll have people like Angelo Del Vecchio, who is considered the best pitcher in the backyard baseball series. I do remember Pete having more power too, but supposedly in the later games, because I took not only the base game, but I took the second, which was 2001, and I also took 2003, and I averaged all of their abilities out. So everybody has been averaged a little bit. Yes, Angela has some bad movement. She can get hit out of the park real fast, but her curveball, slider, and changeup are some of the best in the game. Her fastball was never that good in the original game. In fact, I actually found a really good Reddit thread that described every single player. Okay, you only played original in 2001. I mean, those are the best ones. 2001 and the original are always the best ones. Kenny Kawaguchi was really good in the original and in, I think, 2001. And then in 2003, they really nerfed his stats, so he's not as good as I'd like to have him be, but he's pretty good as well. We, of course, are going to have people like Jocinda Smith. If you guys remember Jocinda, she always had that really high contact, but nobody could hit with her. We, of course, are going to see the Weber twins in this game. They're both pitchers. They're both starters. They're both very, very good. But they're both a little bit different, so that'll be interesting. We're also, of course, going to see people like Luann Louie, another starting pitcher who can also absolutely just fly on the base paths, 109 speed across the board. We're going to be seeing people such as... Oh, where is she? There she is, Stephanie Morgan. This is going to be one of the more average hitters for backyard baseball. That power might be a bit low, but in the end, that is based off of the fact that she was more of a doubles hitter anyways. So hopefully you guys find all these ratings acceptable. This is after weeks and weeks of editing and adjusting and, tweaking stuff to make stuff work. And it's looking really, really good. There's one more person I really want to show off to you guys. Where is he? Where did I put him? There he is. This is Mikey Thomas. This is my favorite player. This is my favorite player in the backyard baseball set of kids. This was the character that, for me, was always my first pick. Mostly because he was amazing behind the dish as catcher, and he could hit the ball 1.5 miles, and that was just really, really cool. Yes, we will be looking at user submissions as well. Yes. The second group, however, I would like to just mention each group as we go through them. We are going to have generic kids added into the game. So these are people like Leah Wayne, Olga Tolofsen, Whitney Singh, Heather Quinn. If you guys remember any of these names, you might remember some of them. Debbie Nagasawa, Molly May. The one that I always go to the most, if I can find her really fast. Where is she? There she is. This was the character that me and my siblings, when we played the game, hated the most. Star Moonbeam. Oh my gosh. She... This was the character that drove me and my siblings nuts. Absolutely nuts. Because she was faster than Pete Wheeler for some unknown reason. She was faster than Pete Wheeler. And if she put the ball ever on the ground, she would beat your throw to first every single time. And you'd have to have like Pablo Sanchez on the mound to get her out. Because she could bunt for hit and she would just lay it down and you'd be like, well, there's a single for her because I'm not getting her out. Because it took so much time for your catcher to get to the ball. She was halfway up to first base by the time you just got the ball in your hands, and it was like, well, that's done. And then she would steal all around you, and then you'd be done. But, you could get her out if she didn't put the ball in play. But the minute she put the ball in play, you were screwed. So, yeah. Questions. You guys had questions about something else. Jennifer Eric. I don't know if I have Jennifer Eric. I don't think so. I'm afraid not. If that was a generic player, I don't think so. Never heard of this game before? Oh, awesome. Well, this is, if you haven't heard of Backyard Baseball, it was an older game back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Who was the brainchild of this project? Me. This was all my idea. I thought about the idea of incorporating just the Backyard Baseball kids. It expanded to encompass the generic kids because I found all of their information online for their ratings. Hence the reason why Leah Wayne looks like this, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see some really good players, Leah Wayne is one of them, and the other person is, there you are, Jay Green. Jay Green is actually rated higher than Pablo Sanchez. I'm just going to let that sit in for a couple minutes, guys. Jay Green is a better rated player than Pablo Sanchez. But you never got to play with him because he was always a computer player. So he actually is the best player in the game. All right? So that just puts it into perspective. We have good, and then we have better. And then we have submitted players. All 76 of your guys' submitted players have been added. Congratulations to everybody who got their players in. Bobby Bacon Bits is here. We have Benjamin Evan Duckday. We've got Kaz Cappy is here. Robbie Budd is here. We've got JD Epps. Mike Fabic is here. Fabtron7 is here. TJ Lauerman is here. Nick Lundstrom. Bobby McMcCoy. Pee-wee McGee. I put myself in here as well, of course, because I wanted to play with you guys. I mean, come on. We are not including Mr. Clanky. That is a robot, and I do not want to have robots in my game. This game is robotic enough as it is. All right? You want to see Deutery? All right, hold on. Where did I put Deutery? If I can remember, there you are. This is Deutery Tikojo. Very good pitcher. Fly ball, unfortunately, because of the majority of it being fastball with a little bit low movement. You guys are going to see yourselves all over this list, guys, so don't worry about that, all right? So everybody who submitted is in. Your ratings are all over the place. Don't worry, we will be reviewing everybody when you're drafted. That's right. Today we are going to be doing the draft, and what's even better, if I can show it off a little faster, we have a freaking draft board. I don't know if that excites you guys, but I'm very excited to see this at this point. So we have a draft board that we'll be utilizing after we review the teams, and then we will actually do the draft live on the stream today, guys. All right? We will actually do the draft board right here, right now, so you guys can see what happens, see who's on your team, see where you go, and we can all have fun while doing this. So if you guys are hyped about that, I am super hyped. I've been bouncing off the walls for the past 2 hours waiting for this stream, so let's do this. All right, so yes, you guys have a lot of players in this game. Shovel Bryant is here. We're going to be seeing Levi Brock. This is considered one of the best hitter submissions we had for this round of submissions. The best pitcher is actually Benjamin Abenduct. This is Schnee. Left-handed throwing, extreme ground ball, knuckleball, ground ball pitcher. Throws over the top, has amazing control. Above average to almost great movement. This person's really, really good. This is probably one of the best pitchers in our game. And you can see he sacrificed all of his hitting, all of his fielding to be able to do this monstrosity of a submission. So interesting, but also really, really cool. People like Fabtron7 went more into being able to play a little bit of third base, so they put their arm up higher and, prioritize contact. I also did take in all of your guys' power-ups, so people who did, like, pitchers. So let me see if I can find a better example of this. So screwballs were added. I believe that was for the, that wasn't the spitball submission. That was, I think, the corkscrew. The corkscrew power-up became screwballs. So as you can see, Robbie Budd has a screwball. That's his actually best pitch at this point. So a lot of people went in one direction or the other. Some people tried to do a little bit of both. And then some people, like the Exterminator, decided just to go all in on hitting. let's just say that he's a first base DH player, and that's basically what he got. So if you went all in on one item, that's what you can do. And if not, the differences are out there as well. People have differences all over the place depending upon, what they submitted. Matt went full into fielding and speed, less hitting, a little bit better on the eye discipline and avoid Ks. But, hey, that's how it could be. He could be a passable first baseman, exactly. If you guys have submissions you guys want me to check, if you guys have names, feel free to go ahead and do that. I'll try to get to everybody before we get started, but I don't want to waste too much time. You want to see me? Okay, fine. Unless it's Alex Smith you wanted to see. This is Alex Smith. He's kind of similar. Outfield, speed demon, good hitting ability. I'm just kidding. I'll get to myself. All right, so my player, I used the same form you guys used, and this is what I submitted myself as. So this is what I ended up submitting for myself. All right. Andy Green and Arthur Dale. Okay. Andy Green is a first base prospect. Very good fielding first baseman. Good speed. Just enough contact and eye discipline to be able to probably hit around 280, 290 in this league. Shouldn't be that bad of a day at all for him. You wanted me to look up Arthur Dane. I am going to run out of chat space in a little bit here. Arthur Dane, I don't know if you actually wanted this submission for the face, but this is what it was submitted with. So this is Arthur Dane. We need to go through everybody, no particular reason. Oh, good grief. Good power hitting catcher, though, here. Low arm, but good catching ability. So not bad. Not bad at all. Let me see. Oh, gosh. Stop scrolling. Stop scrolling. Thumper McThumper. I love this submission. I love, really cool names like this. This was Thumper McThumpers. O Thumper is his nickname. Low speed, high homer ability, great defense behind the plate though. So good job on that right there. You have the only non-USA player in there, Ryan Tetcher. Yeah, that's right. Because you picked Aussie, I went ahead and gave you an Australian flag. The only person who is not considered American by default. And I might change those down the road if you guys want me to. But yes, that is correct. This is Ryan Tetcher. Good knuckleball, curveball, changeup. You actually have better stuff than Schnee, our supposed best submitted pitcher. Lower stamina, though, so we'll see how long you can last in games compared to him. Jay Mills. Someone wanted to look up Jay Mills. Jay Mills was good. I remember him. Another offensively focused first baseman. You guys are going to notice that a lot of the offensive focused people are first basemen. In the end, Blue Note, I only had myself and TJ Lauerman, that sports gamer. We were the only two people. I think Nicolino is in here as well. I have to double check on that, though. But I think we're the only people who actually submitted players at the moment. Let's look up TJ really fast before I jump ship on that, because he's probably not going to be here. This is TJ Lauerman's submission. This is when we were doing the first testing for our submission page. Good fastball, good slider to go along with it. He pitched splitter as his secondary pitch. He's a very high speed velocity pitcher. Let's see. Who else do I need to check up at this point? Joe Slobotnik. If I can remember all these people at this point. So pardon me, guys, if I'm going to be a bit slow. I got to work through all your guys' chat. So this is Joe Slobotnik. Shortstop. Very good range. Not a very good arm, though. So he'll be borderline second base shortstop at this point. A lot of speed, though. Lots of speed. Basically, the game is going to be more... It's going to be much more easier to be as good as the pros and as good as the superstars. Problem is, though, he's got no power. So he's Pablo Sanchez up until he has to hit the ball out of the field. So that's Joe Slobotnik. Captain Tonelli. I hope I don't miss anybody. Oh, Bobby Bacon Bits first. Hold on. Bacon Bits. Average hitter across the board besides the home run ability. Good speed, good fielding in the outfield. Should probably be in center field, left field, or right field. The AI will choose that. Should be just fine. Captain Tennille would be the other person we wanted to look up at this point. Captain, my captain. Let's see. Where's Tennille? There you are. Captain Tennille, also known as Muskrat. Very good power ability. Good third base ability. Should be just fine playing the infield. Good enough contact and gap power to do a good job. So not too bad. If you missed up the point submission, if you went below, I actually went through and kind of tweaked it just a little bit to add maybe one or two. Oh, Dandruff, you want to see... Oh, gosh. Yeah, somebody submitted Dan Druff. And where's Dan? Somebody submitted Doc Holliday. That was a cool submission. I like that. I'd like to honor that. I think it was Dan. Nope, not Dan Peeler. No, I think I forgot your last name. Was it this one here? I think this might have been yours. Itchy? There's two. Hold on. I was working on Pablo Sanchez. Bacon Bits, please. Great Peters, Percy Patterson. Oh, good grief. There's too many. Too many for the short amount of time we have, guys. Oh, that's right. T-Rex is here as well. Yes, I do have T-Rex. You can do real names or you can do memes. That's not a problem. And I do hope this was Dan Druff. I hope this is Dan Druff and I just forgot your last name. His nickname is Muskrat. Yes, we did end up looking at Muskrat. Let me see. Who was the person that had dandruff? There he is. Unsainted. Is this your submission, Unsainted? I think this is. Itchy? Now I gotta look it up on my... Hold on. I'm gonna pull up the spreadsheet and see if I can find you really fast. Here, I'll give you guys a behind-the-scenes view of this really fast, just so you guys can take a look at what I'm looking at this point. Stop trying to get this back on track. We do need to get this back on track, unfortunately. Let me just show you guys. Before we do anything else and go over these teams, let me show you guys exactly what work had to be done. This is your guys's and the generic players' spreadsheets. Every single player had to come in and become converted into a OOTP superstar of some kind, all right? And yes, Itchy was supposed to be Dan Druff. Okay, so that's interesting. Let me go back to here and make sure I change that then. So that's what happened, basically, ladies and gentlemen. We had to do a whole bunch of stuff. I had to do a good enough job for all that, all right? So, Druff gets added, and that's a change. Boom. Done. Okay. We can spend the next hour looking at people, and that's, all good. But at this point, guys, we got to get back to focus. We got to get back to focus on the draft. So let's first do the draft. We'll worry about that at a different time. Let me get rid of that Excel. And let's worry about the teams first, actually. So, I want to introduce the teams, let you guys get to see them. You guys can pick teams you like, and then as your players are drafted onto teams, you guys can like them even more or like them a lot less. All right? All right. The Mythics, again, are playing at their stadium, Mythics Park. You guys saw it already. It looked pretty cool. let's go on to the Centennial Squirrels. The Squirrels are going to be our second team. They're using their reds. Their red uniforms and white ones for away. They'll be playing at a ballpark called Barry Allen Park. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real fast for you guys so you can see what it looks like. This is Centennial Squirrels, their home ball field. Nice brick background with the almost faux Boston Red Sox monster left field for like Fenway-esque approach. But it's supposed to be a Colorado, which I don't know. I kind of feel like it's Colorado, so I think it'll do just fine at this point. And then, of course, besides the Squirrels, we have the Coral Springs Manatees. The Manatees are going to be playing with their blue and it's like almost like a green-blue uniform with the browns as their secondary colors, which is an interesting little color scheme, but it's not too bad. How long did it take you to build a ballpark? I did not make these ballparks. I grabbed them from our, Mint, that's what they are. I grabbed these stadiums from our forums. So I need to remember who it was who submitted all of these stadiums, but I ended up like searching through about 70 different ballparks, and I came across the ones I liked the most. So the Manatees are a fun colored team, and then their ballpark is Ybor City Stadium, which is a domed artificial turf stadium. I think you guys are going to like this one a lot. It's a domed stadium with glass, and this one's going to be fun to play at right here. So it's almost like as if they're under the ocean at this point. So I hope you guys like this stadium. It's going to have a lot of those mint, bluish-green colors, a little bit, we don't even go for the brown, actually, on this stadium, which is surprising. I should have made the second layer be like a brown, but I think I didn't like it. But yeah, Pablo Sanchez or Mikey Thomas smashes the glass on this out in center field. This stadium's going to go underwater real fast. Anywho, that's the Manatees. Let's worry about the Ducks. The Ducks from Downey are going to be using their dark green and light green uniforms, as well, of course, as their whites to be able to do all that. So far, I've been made by Nilsson. Okay, they're probably all by him then. Good, I have a name now. So thank you to Nilsson to be able to do all of that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but oh my gosh, these stadiums are amazing. These logos are not made by me. These logos are made by Low. You can get all of these logos on our forums. So all of the stuff we're going to be using in today's examples and demonstrations are all stuff you guys can get and import into your game so they can look just like this. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can go and grab them from the forums, and they make your game look so much better. So this is, of course, Hadlock Field, the home of the Ducks. Very generic stadium, but they have a river in the background. I thought that was kind of at least appropriate with the lighthouse sea kind of thing for ducks. I felt like it was kind of good enough at that point. There, thank you, DishNet, for the link to the stadium models. These are fantastic stadium models. I highly recommend them. The Durham Goats, we're going to move through these as fast as possible. The Goats are going to use their dark brown, a little bit of their skin, gray skin, like almost like, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the color, almost like a neutral browns with a darker brown approach and everything else. Sparks fly if you hit a dinger into the lights. Absolutely. So they're going to be using their browns and whites for their uniforms. And then, of course, the Durham Athletic Park is where the Goats will be playing at. Let's go ahead and take a look at this stadium really fast for you guys. So it's kind of similar with the in the middle of the city approach. The Goats have their own cool little logo out in left field and a massive video screen out in right. They are one of the only teams who have a almost symmetrical stadium. There's a couple more that have symmetrical stuff. But at this point, you know, they have a pretty generic stadium, all things considered. A couple of screens for their video boards, and that's the Goats. So the Goats are going to be a fun team to play with. The Apollos, this is going to be Houston's team. They're going to be using oranges and blues. So the oranges and blues from Houston are going to be a lot of fun. They have one of the more fun logos, in my opinion, too. So I personally like the Houston Apollos a lot. Their ballpark is going to be Los Altos. Los Altos Park is absolutely Houston to a T. This is Houston absolutely to a T. They have the old school style brick roofing, the really cool architecture in center field with the cool architecture in left and right with the holes in the walls, the windows, or I think those are actually walking paths. But yes, this is definitely one of the best stadiums we have in the game, although it's not the best one. All right, guys, this is not the best stadium. There's a better one. Promise. Yes, there is a trash can out in center field. I can at least assure you of that. But it is chained up because it's been caught and it's not allowed to do anything. So we already are on that. Don't worry about that. We got you guys covered. The Kanata koalas are going to be sporting their purples because, of course, they are. So the purples from the koalas are going to be broad and out there at this point. They're going to be using their striped purple subcolor away uniforms, and their ballpark is Duchess Stadium. And this is the only stadium we have in the game with an ivy fence. It's a symmetrical stadium, huge video scoreboards out in left and right field down the lines, but it's the only stadium with ivy around the fence. So this will be a fun stadium to play at for a lot of good teams. The Kansas City Cluckers. That's a fun name to say. They are going to be using their alternative colors, which is their yellows. So they're going to be using the yellows and the blues and their reds to make one of the more flavorful jerseys in all of our game. In our entire game, we're going to be having, these guys are definitely going to be the most colorful. Their ballpark is called Barnyard Park, and I found the perfect stadium for the Cluckers. This is Cluckers Field. They have a barn, a silo, a clock tower of some kind out in center, and then the wind thing, which I think is for water. I think it's for the silo normally. But this stadium is really, really cool. It's one of the more deeper stadiums that we're going to be sporting, as it has a huge corner. It has big gaps out in left center field area. Center just goes all the way back to the wall pretty much. But this is the fun stadium as well. This is a fun one. So it fit the whole entire structure of the Cluckers perfectly to a T. The Lansing Robins are going to be using their dark brown blacks with their light browns and their whites and their grays. So they're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. A clock tower. Oh my gosh. You want a free 2-piece meal? Oh my gosh. You guys are great. Yes, so they'll be using their default kind of base colors. I don't really feel a whole lot for the Robins in terms of their jerseys. Their stadium is also a little bit bland, but I do enjoy having the first stadium with actual like trees and structure with the left and right field bleachers and the lights out in center and a really nice massive scoreboard out in center field. It's definitely one of the more traditional teams, traditional stadiums. So if you're looking for like a more traditional approach to baseball, the Robins are going to be your choice. Yes. The Louisville Swatters are going to be a fun team with their purples and blues as their main colors at this point. So they're going to be throwing out a whole bunch of alternative colors over the course of this season. So I hope you guys like their jerseys a little bit. They're a little bit fun. But their ballpark is Louisville Slugger Field. This is actually one of the stadiums that was already done and edited, and I didn't have to touch it at all. A lot of the other stadiums, I actually had to do graphic work to make them actually correct, and that was a bit of a pain. But these guys have a massive boat out in center field, which is interesting. And, of course, they have just one of the more symmetrical stadiums, kind of just slants. They're called the slant stadiums, so, hey, it's what happened at this point. But, yeah. Louisville Swatters are going to have a fun little time in their big, gigantic stadium. The Memphis Kings, one of our two nobility-esque type of ball clubs. We do also have the Queens Nobles to go through as well down the road. And the Kings are going to be utilizing their yellows, oranges, and then occasionally their darker browns, I think. Their stadium's going to utilize more of their darker browns. And the yellows and oranges are going to be their majority of their jerseys. And their stadium that they picked was First Tennessee Park, which made sense since they're from Memphis. This stream is going to go for at least an hour, potentially 2. Yes, purple is usually associated with royalty. These guys have more of a maroon reddish purple as their, secondary logo or a secondary color. So this is what the Kings Stadium looks like. They're going to be utilizing a little bit of their Memphis roots, Tennessee roots, and then being able to utilize their own city stadium with the video scoreboard way out in left field beyond the actual stadium, in fact. So this is going to be cool with the guitar out in right center field. This is going to be one of the more unique aesthetic stadiums that we'll have. So the Kings are a fun one. The Murfreesboro Marmots. I almost messed that up completely. The Marmots are going to be utilizing blues, browns, and whites, which is going to be interesting at this point. So if you guys like Marmots, you might like this team, although they're an oddball team. Let's just say they are definitely the oddball team out. They play at UCCU Park, which is an open ballpark, grass stadium right up against the hills, which is really cool. I thought that was actually pretty nice. They have a nice brick outside right field area. Center field is not that deep, so this stadium is pretty small, all things considered. So it's going to be a hitter-friendly ballpark, but also a little bit of a pitcher-friendly ballpark. This might be MTSU. I don't know. Some of these stadiums are based on real-life stadiums. I think most of them are fictional, though. So we'll see. That's true. Murfreesboro would have probably been a little more better for that, but maybe. We'll see about that. Some of these stadiums have no reason to be equipped to this team outside of the fact that they just kind of feel correct for the mascot and the name of the team. The Manatees were at, which one was that? That was, I don't remember now. Hold on a second. You wanted to look up the Manatee Stadium? Wasn't that Ybor? I'm pretty sure the Manatees play at Ybor Stadium. Yes. So the Manatees play at Ybor Stadium. It's one of our only domed artificial turf stadiums. That's the Manatee Stadium right there. Very nice glass domed artificial turf stadium. This artificial turf I had to edit because it was terrible. It still looks, it's manageable, but I still need to do more work on that. All right, moving on. Portland, the Portland Pioneers. They'll be utilizing their grays, oranges, and browns to be able to make these really snazzy-looking Pioneer uniforms. Very nicely done. They'll be playing at Portland Diamond Ballpark out of Portland. Now, there was 3 different choices we had for this stadium. In the end, we went with this one because it just kind of made more sense. With the nice, tall right field line, the more of the woodsy approach with the city in the background of Portland, and the massive stuff on each end of right center field, and of course down the line in left field. So this is a pretty good one too. I'm very happy about this one as well. Let me see if I can get some better views of the outfield. And this is why we like this stadium. This outfield is almost as flat as can be. This stadium has just the most aggressive slants I have ever seen in a stadium. So this one's going to be fun to play games at because you're not going to hit very many triples, but you're going to hit a lot of doubles in this ballpark. So this will be a fun one to go through as well. All right, time for Queens. This is the Queens Nobles. They are symbolized by their lion crest jersey, which is going to be adorned with their blues, light blues, darker navy blues, and whites. This is the only team that is going to be playing with their home uniforms actually being white. All right, guys? This is the only team going to be doing that. They will be utilizing their blues and their other colors for their away uniforms. And they will be playing at Jackie Robinson Field with the roof closed. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, this is the best field we have in the game. This is, in my opinion, the best field. It's a closed, retractable roof stadium that looks wide open. It looks so much better than what like Chase Field looks like. And just massive video board out in center field, video boards along the left and right center field areas, bullpens with the warming up signs. Unfortunately, they won't change, but this is one of the best stadiums in the game. I love this stadium. And it's very symmetrical, so it feels very tight, but it's also homey. It doesn't feel too tight. It actually feels good. And it has plenty of room to work with. This is a fantastic stadium. It's really, really nice. So this is my favorite one out of all of them, in all honesty. The Salem Warlocks out of Massachusetts will be utilizing their blues as well, dark blues, light blues, and then, of course, their away whites. Is the train going to come through? No, it's good. It's not going to come through. Don't worry about that. So yes, the Warlocks are going to utilize their blues quite efficiently. They're very nice colors. They play at Hammond Park, which is a retractable roof stadium, which is open. So this will be our only domed stadium or retractable roof stadium that's actually going to be open. It has the whole entire liners on there. If we were able to turn around, you can see there's the roof right there open. It's got the whole entire brick left field wall area, so unfortunately we don't have a train on there, but that's okay. I mean, what are you expecting anyways? Symmetrical outfield wall, looks very clean. A nice stadium, a really nice stadium too. I like this one as well. The Toronto Giants, which could have gone in many different directions because their name are the Giants, but they chose elephants. So that was, you know, up to them, but that was still pretty cool. They'll be utilizing their mixture of browns and dark blues to make these really nice uniforms. Very happy with those uniforms at this point. And they'll be playing at Skydome. And if anybody knows Skydome, you know that it's a pretty nice stadium. This is another retractable roof, artificial turf stadium. And this is the Giants Stadium. This is the edge of the roof. It's been spun around to be open. And you'll be able to play on this stadium. It's wide open stadium, very clean, very minimalistic in all of its approaches, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play on this stadium right here. Massive foul areas, though. Massive foul areas. Anything to distract them from hockey. That is very true. That's probably very true. The Virginia Beach Captains are our penultimate. See, I can do that word correctly. Penultimate team. They'll be using their dark blues with a little bit of their yellows to do their secondary colors at this point. Yes, it is an improved Skydome model. Yes. And let me see. There you go. Stadium is going to be Riley Field or Riley Stadium at this point. And they utilize this one, which has the massive boat. Again, another boat out in center field at this point. But yes, the Captains are going to be playing at Riley Field. I think I have it named wrong. I think I have it named as Riley Stadium at one point. But they've got the massive video screen out in right field, the boat out in center, the lined screen out in left field, and then, of course, the scoreboards on each of the... Oh, just on the left field wall. My apologies. Virginia Beach is on the ocean. Yeah, it's the ocean, so I have to have an ocean boat at this point. And I'm pretty sure this is docks, I think. I don't remember what the background looks like, unfortunately. It's a schooner. That's right. Yeah, so it's an ocean boat. It's perfect for the ocean. So yes, the Virginia Beach Captains are going to be our second last team, and our final one is the Windsor Whistlers, and they will be utilizing their blues as well as their sand yellow or plaid colors, I guess technically, kind of plain color, cream. That's what it is, cream color. Yes, not a good battle line than that stadium, so we'll have to see about that. Opposed to a land boat. That's true. I mean, you can have amphibious boats, but I don't think you want to do land boats, in all honest. So, yes. So yeah, the Whistlers are going to be utilizing those jerseys, and they play at Lookout Landing, which is an open ballpark with grass. Very snug little stadium. Very, very snug. With a, again, slanted outfield wall section, nice little river in the background with the trees and everything else. So pretty more, this is like one of the more generic stadiums we have as well. Pretty much just a nice typical stadium for them. So yeah, my first car was a land boat. I think most cars are land boats, to be honest. So that's all of the team, guys. That's all the teams. We ended up deleting 2 teams that we did not like. That was the Fayetteville Frogs and a different team that I can't remember now. I actually don't remember what the other team was called. But we didn't like either their color schemes or their stadium. And so we took away 2 different teams to make this possible, to make this happen. So those are the teams involved in our inaugural fantasy draft. And this is the order that they're going to be coming in. So let's go ahead and go back to the draft for a second. So this is the order that we're going to be going in for tonight's fantasy draft. If all of you guys involved, you want to get drafted by the Queens? I mean, hey, you can try, but I'll see what happens. So we'll be having the Koalas first. The Apollos will be second. Whistlers are third. Warlocks are fourth. The Giants get the 5th overall pick. The Goats get the 6th one. The Ducks get the 7th. The Manatees and Nobles will take 7th and 8th. Or no, 8th and 9th. No, 7th and 8th. No, 8th and 9th. My apologies. 8th and 9th. Sorry, I say tonight because I'm so used to just having these streams done in the evening, and I keep forgetting it's only like 1 o'clock my time. So it's in the afternoon for everybody. The Marmots get draft pick number 10. The Mythics get 11. Robins get number 12. The Kings will get 13th. Squirrels get 14th. And the Cluckers will get 15th. The Swatters, Captains, and Pioneers will be finishing up in 16, 17, and 18. We'll be doing the draft in like 2 minutes. So we'll be showing you guys all the results here live. So there will be 13 rounds for 235 players to be able to select from. It is a snake draft. It's serpentine. So we'll go up and then we'll go back. So we'll be able to see the Pioneers get picks 18 and 19. And the Koalas will get pick first, and then they have to wait all the way until they get pick number 36. So they have a long time until they get to pick again. And by all accounts, as we go ahead and say continue draft, by all accounts, Pablo Sanchez is considered the best pick in the draft. Now, some people will say that Leah Wayne and Jay Green are also very, very good. Oh, did I ever mention that we have pro players here? I may have forgot about this. Yeah. I may have added all of the professional players that were incorporated in Backyard Baseball 2001, 2003, and 2005. We will be analyzing each pick. Yes, we will. We will be taking our sweet time so you guys get the drops, and I get to be able to explain every single pick. So we will have tons of stuff for you guys. So there are a lot of professional players in the game. They range from like Ken Griffey Jr. back when he was with Seattle to Randy Johnson, Sean Green, Jeremy Burnitz is here from his years in the Backyard Baseball game. We'll be seeing people like Kenny Lofton, and one person in particular that might go in the top 3 is Pedro Martinez. So we will be seeing a whole bunch of the old players that played along with the game when you guys played it, and those should be a lot of fun. All right? This confirms Junior. Junior's confirmed. Well, if he looks like this version of Junior, that's Gwyn. Where is he? If this is the card you guys would get, I don't think anybody would want him. Every single player but one will be drafted. So we will have one unlucky soul who does not get drafted. Don't worry, it's not going to be a submitted player. There are plenty of generic kids that are definitely much worse than any of the players you guys submitted. So don't worry about that, all right? But, yeah, I don't think you guys want that Ken Griffey if that's what you guys are going to get. But we do have Dontrell Willis in here, guys. So, hey. Jorge Garcia is potentially the person who doesn't get drafted. More likely than not, it is... Where is Cindy? Cindy Chan is probably... Or Chang, sorry. This is almost always the person who doesn't get drafted in the end. So, this... As you can see... she can't hit. Like, at all. So, this is most likely the person who is not going to get drafted in the game. It's either her or it's, is it Stuart Sullivan? There's a couple people who are, like, overall rated, like, 25. So, they're not good at all. I think it's her. I gotta remember now who the other people are. I think Middleton is... Nope, Middleton's not one of them. There's a couple people. It's Stewart, isn't it? Yeah, Stuart Sullivan is the potential other player that may not get drafted. Mostly because they're full-on defense, full-on running game, but absolutely no hitting. So, the game does not value defense that much. Not as much as it should, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, who's ready for a draft? We've got the teams ready. 13 rounds, 235 kids. Let's get started, shall we? Let me take some water real fast, get this all set up and ready to go. I have to make documents all over the place because we're going to be entering in the names as they get drafted. That's true. Call the undrafted player. I mean, it's hard. You guys don't have a list of all the players that it could be. But how about this? When we get to the last round, I will let you guys know the last 14 or no, that would be the last 19 players. And I'll let you guys figure out which one you guys think is going to be the last pick, or the one who doesn't get picked. All right? So the last 19 players, I'll let you guys look through the 19. We'll look at them all. We'll guess who doesn't get drafted. And maybe I'll convince Rich to give some points away or something like that. Maybe. I'll see about it. Let me know if anybody gets it. Everyone's already Cindy Chang. I mean, that's probably who it's going to be. I imagine it's going to be Cindy, but we'll see. Player development is not turned on. Player development will not be turned on for this league because I don't want people aging. Otherwise, people could really flip-flop. So you guys, whatever you submitted is what you guys get. Ronnie Dobbs is actually really good. I mean, he's no superstar, but he's actually really good. All right, let's get started, shall we? What we're going to do is we're going to do the draft, pop it into the draft board, and then review the player, and then do that for as many people as we feel comfortable doing. So, the Kanata Koalas, with the first overall draft of the 2020 Backyard Project, select Pablo Sanchez. Of course, who would have thunk it? Pablo Sanchez is a Koala. Congratulations to the Koalas for their number 1 overall pick. Pablo Sanchez is a very good center fielder, shortstop player, good speed, good contact, good power. What can this kid not do? Who would have thunk it? There's no surprise there. Such a reach pick. Absolutely a reach pick. With the number 2 overall pick in the draft, the Houston Apollos select Pedro Martinez. A very good starting pitcher, probably one of the best starting pitchers in our game at this point. He will become an Apollo, not flying to the moon, although he could have balls fly to the moon at this point. The very good fastball, changeup, slider pitcher will be a very good addition to this Apollos team. Probably also not a reach. I can't believe Pedro fell all the way to second place. Good grief. Good grief. With the 3rd overall pick in the draft, the Windsor Whistlers select Benjamin Abenduct, one of the very first selected players in the draft for submitted players. This is the 2nd overall picked for starting pitchers. Very good control, movement stuff, curveball, changeup, knuckleball, high stamina, extreme ground ball pitcher. Very, very low velocity, though. But this is the first user-created player to come off of the board. So congratulations to the Windsor Whistlers for that selection. The Salem Warlocks, with the 4th overall pick, will select Amanda Hellerman. This is one of the generic players in the game. Let me go ahead and show you guys off Hellerman. This is considered the best pitcher out of all of the generic players, the ones who were just generic kids from the original Backyard Baseball series. As you can see, she has very good control, movement, and stuff as well. She throws 97 to 99. 97 to 99. There is a 5-minute draft reel for each pick. Guys, I want to get you guys, free packs, but I'm not going to be staying here for 17 hours trying to go through 13 rounds. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. So Amanda Hellerman goes to the Salem Warlocks as the number 4 overall pick. The number 5 pick going to the, if I can spell this person's name correctly, to the Toronto Giants is going to be Levi Brout. And I think I misspelled that. I did. Hold on. Brocht. There we go. Levi Brocht is going to be our number 5 overall pick. This is the 2nd hitter to go and the first submitted player who actually plays a position and is not a pitcher. So this is the 2nd overall submitted player to be able to do this. Very good left and center field player. That range is fantastic. And the speed is very good. Contact's very good. The air and arm, though. The air and arm is going to be interesting. I don't have a team named the New York Jets so we can boo the pick. Oh, good grief. But anywho, Levi Brock, center fielder, Username of Slightly Reckless, or is his nickname, sorry, goes to the Giants. And don't mind the mouse in the middle of the screen. I just have to have it up. Unfortunately, I don't have any way to take it away. The Durham Goats, with the number 6 overall pick, will be selecting Angela Del Vecchio. One of the players from Backyard Baseball. This is considered one of the best pitchers from the Backyard Baseball era of kids. A very, very good pitcher, very good control pitcher. Not a lot of speed, but still a very good control pitcher. So, yes. Declare that booing rights go to the Queens team. Oh my gosh, that's mean. But it seems reasonable as well. She is very home run prone. That is very true. The Downey Ducks have the 7th overall pick. And with it, they will select Jay Green, one of the only two-way, ultimate, superstar two-way players. Jay Green can hit and pitch extremely well. As you guys can see from this screen right here, a lot of blues, a little bit of greens, but a lot of blues. I'm surprised he falls to 7th overall, but sometimes the AI does have problems utilizing him correctly. So we will see about that. So anywho, the Ducks will pick up Jay Green. He will now be wearing some green alongside of all that blue on his ratings. With the number 8th overall pick, the Coral Springs Manatees will be selecting the big unit, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson is one of the pro players on this whole entire list. He'll be wearing the teal, mint, greenish blue uniforms with the Browns. He actually looks pretty snazzy in that, to be honest. I actually kind of like that. Randy Johnson is one of the biggest strikeout pitchers in our game. He should be able to do a lot of good work with that. So that is the 7th overall pick, I believe. Yes. So that brings us up to the 8th overall pick, which is going to be... 9th overall pick. That was the 8th overall pick. This is going to be the 9th overall pick for the Queens Nobles. Get ready to boo, everybody. They will be picking up with their 8th overall pick, Tiffany Bosworth. I don't know if any of you are going to know who Tiffany Bosworth is. So let me go ahead and show it off to you guys. Tiffany Bosworth is a starting pitcher. Very good control movement. A little bit lower on the movement, but good stuff along with that. He got drafted after a fictional character. Oh my gosh. This is going to be an interesting pickup right here. I don't know if this is going to be a good pickup for the Nobles. She does have a little bit of hitting ability. She can play a lot of different positions. But they will probably be slotting her as a starting pitcher. So we'll see how that goes. So that is the first half of our first round draft picks. The Murfreesboro Marmots will be selecting the 10th overall pick, and it will be Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux is officially the 10th overall pick. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Atlanta Braves version of Greg Maddux. Very good stuff, very good control, amazing stamina, cannot hold runners, but look at that sacrifice button. I'm just kidding. It's not amazing, but it'll do a good job. Do a good enough job at this point. I wish I had a draft timer in the corner. That would actually be really cool. But because of the amount of time I'm going to be utilizing for this stream, I really don't want to be spending too much time. So we'll see. So yes, Greg Maddux goes 10th overall to the Marmots. That'll bring us up to the Mythics. And with the 11th overall pick, the Bismarck Mythics will select Ryan Tetcher, a submitted player. I believe that is Dishnet. One of our good starting pitch options at this point. Very, very good pitcher. The stamina is a little bit susceptible. The velocity is not quite where we'd like to see it, and the fastball suffers because of that. But all of the abilities to play around all of his other pitches, his changeup, his curveball, his knuckleball, his stuff is 126 over 126. He will strike out so many players over the course of a season. Congratulations, Dishnet. You are now officially a mythic. Oh, good grief. This is going to take forever, but I love it. The Lansing Robins will be picking up the next pick, which is going to be pick number 12, and they will be picking with number 12, Jay Mills. Congratulations to Jay Mills and the Lansing Robins on their selection. This is one of the very first basemen to go in our draft. This is a heavy offensive-focused first baseman, 22 years of age, no speed whatsoever to speak of, fly ball, pole hitter, spray-hitting fly ball tendency, though, so that'll be interesting. And the Robins get for themselves a nice, cozy power hitter for their nice, cozy stadium. Congratulations to the Robins. That should be a fun pick for them. With the 13th overall pick, which is unlucky number 13, the Memphis Kings will select Leah Wayne. This is one of the others generic kids that are a very good two-way player. Leah Wayne has some really good hitting ability, but she's also a very good starting pitcher, so we'll see what she can do about that. Is that player made? Yes, the first baseman that was just selected before Leah Wayne was a player that was made by default. If you put in a position and it was first base or third base, that is the only position you will play. All right? If you picked second or shortstop, I gave you the other option. So if you put second base, I gave you shortstop as a backup. If you picked shortstop, I gave you second base as a backup as well. All right? That's how it worked. If you picked catcher, you can only play catcher. If you picked outfield, I gave you all 3 outfield positions because it's pretty generic that way. Otherwise, some of you guys would be able to play anywhere, and it wouldn't matter what position you selected. The AI would change it, and I didn't want the AI changing stuff. All right, so that's Leah Wayne going to the Memphis Kings in the 13th overall pick. The Squirrels have the 14th overall pick, and with it, they will pick up another generic player, Christina Beatty. Another starting pitching option. A lot of those people are starting pitchers. I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend at this point. So Christina Beatty, very good starting pitcher. Throws right-handed. Nickname is Prayers, as her stuff and control is very, very good. Throws 91 to 93. Very good pickup here for the Squirrels. Should be a lot of fun for them. 14th was the Squirrels, so 15th pick goes to the Cluckers. And they will be picking with the 15th pick, Todd Xavier. Todd Xavier is another generic backyard baseball kid. Another starting pitcher. Oh my gosh, more starting pitchers. Good grief. But Xavier also has a little bit of offense to go along with his pitching ability. He's got a very good curveball, not a very good fastball, but good off-speed pitches for Todd, also known as X Factor. Because no doubt, if you have Xavier in your name, you're definitely going to be X Factor. Most of these kids are going to be very similar because they only come from a couple different rating systems, so a lot of them are going to be very closely relatable. That's just how it's going to be, unfortunately. All right. With the 16th pick overall, the Louisville Swatters will pick Tim Gross. Congratulations to Tim Gross, the Exterminator. This is another of our popular first base power hitters. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be the trend for a lot of these picks, is that we're going to be seeing a lot of the power hitters going first, and then we'll see a lot more of the offensively contact, speed, defensively oriented players coming in down the road. Tim Gross is going to officially be a Louisville Swatter. So congratulations to Tim Gross and the Swatters for that pickup. Virginia Beach, with their 17th overall pick, will be picking up Earl Abbott. This is another starting pitcher. This is not a custom kid. This is a generic kid from the Backyard Baseball series. Another person with the high control, high stuff, lower movement abilities. But good off-speed pitches because he throws the ball a little bit slower in the velocity area. So good pick here for the Virginia Beach Captains of Earl Abbott. He's probably a steal at this position for them. The 18th overall pick goes to Portland, and with it, they will be selecting Seth Hoffman. I actually don't know if this is... It is! This is a user-created player, user-submitted player, Seth Hoffman, second baseman, extreme offensive player, and very happy to see Seth Hoffman go this early up in the rounds. This is actually pick number 18. That's right. So this is the end of the first round for for the first round of the Backyard Baseball or the Backyard Project draft. So really cool so far. What's his Twitter handle? I don't know his Twitter handle, unfortunately. So I didn't do Twitter handles on any of these people, unfortunately. Yeah, second base. He does have some susceptibility because his range is diddly squat. So this will be interesting to see what happens when people submit players that don't play well at their positions. So we'll be definitely looking forward to seeing how this goes in terms of their ability to play the position they're supposed to play at. But don't hassle the Hoff. I mean, yeah, at this point, they could put him at first base and he'd probably do just fine. But again, you aren't probably going to learn any first base at this point. So, and there's no DH. There's no DH. You have to play the position that you're given. So, yeah. Should have added Dishnet to the program as a commentator. Dude, I would have had to have had programmable audio that I could punch a button and just grab and be like, yep, that's the next person, and I just punch it and Dishnet talks about the player. Man, that would have taken so much more time. But maybe down the road we'll do that again. All right, Portland with their second pick, which is number 19. This is round number 2, first pick. So this is going to be their back-to-back selection. They will pick up Cody Hamilton, a.k.a. Hammer Time. Congratulations to the Portland team for both of their pickups. This is a starting pitcher slash, you can play a little bit of the infield slash other positions because of his arm, but he is technically a starting pitcher with his screwball, changeup, curveball, slider combination. Throws the ball 90 to 92 miles per hour, has terrible movement. Well, no, sorry, that's average movement. Below average movement maybe is a stretch, but definitely going to be dominating with the off-speed pitches. He's a finesse pitcher, so we'll see what happens with that. Two-way Cody. That's kind of what he is. That is kind of what he is. All right. With the 20th overall pick, the Virginia Beach Captains will select Greg Peters. Greg Peters is a second baseman by default. Let's go ahead and update that. Greg Peters is an offensively driven second baseman. Again, low second base ability, but high errors and high double plays. So it'll be interesting to see what happens about this person at this point. He'd get a 10-plus ERA in the Diamond League regarding the last pitcher. Yes, he probably actually would. Fineness. I mean, I'm not finding anybody, but that's okay. Anywho, Greg Peters, very good switch hitting second base prospect right here. Good power, good contact. It's going to be another of those just absolute sluggers. And yeah, there's definitely a draft meta here, unfortunately. So that was the 20th overall pick, I believe. And now 21st pickup. This is going to be Louisville. Louisville will pick up, ooh, nice one, Angelique Harding. This is one of the generic baseball players from Backyard Baseball. Angelique Harding, another nice starting pitching prospect. Very good overalls on all of her abilities. Throws 93 to 95. Very good hold runners, stamina, movement control stuff. The good fastball, curveball, slider, changeup combination. Very, very solid second pick here for the Swatters after their, I believe it was Tim Gross they got in the first round. So that'll be a fun pickup to get their first starting pitcher at this point. It'll also be very interesting as my voice starts to go. That's not a good sign. There we go. It'll be interesting to note who doubles down on starting pitchers for the first 2 rounds and goes all in on those starting pitchers versus per se going with a hitter and a starting pitcher or a starting pitcher and a hitter. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. Anywho, second pickup for the Swatters, Angelique Harding. Kansas City Cluckers, with their second round pick, are going to be picking up Kaz Cappy, a shortstop prospect with very good contact. Finally, our first non-power hitter. Oh, there we go. Kaz Cappy, also known as Kaz Cappy. Welcome to the Kansas City Cluckers. That's great. Kaz Cappy on the Cluckers. I'm afraid I don't know why that would be the case. Sir Newbie, it might be that your browser is having a problem. Yeah, refreshing the page might help. This breaks the meta, by the way, guys. It does. You're right, Sergeant Mushroom. This breaks the meta completely. Speed, defense, offense, but not power. Anything but the power. All right, discipline is here. The avoid Ks are here. The contact is here. Very good. Contact hitting shortstop / second base prospect. I love this. Cappy's a clucker. Oh, yeah. Clucker's going to finish last at this point. Why? Who do they have first? Who was their first round pick? I don't remember, and I can't... The text is so small on my screen. I can't tell who was the first overall pick for the Cluckers, unfortunately. Let me see. That would have been... They're not following the meta. Oh, was that Todd Xavier they picked up in the first round? Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, no, Todd Xavier is the starting pitcher, so they're fine. They should be fine. They have a pitcher, and now they've got a shortstop. So, yeah, not a problem. Oh, gosh, auto-drafted? I mean, we could have auto-drafted. I mean, that's what I'm technically doing is auto-drafting. Every single team is doing their own pick. So, speaking of which, with the 23rd overall pick, the Centennial Squirrels will pick up Mike Fabic. This is a first base prospect, another power-hitting first base prospect. Has better defense, though, this time around, and a little bit of speed. So sacrifice some of the contact and the eye discipline and the avoid Ks to get some more speed and a little bit better first base ability. So this will be a fun pickup for the Squirrels, picking up Fabic. Their first pickup was Beatty, a starting pitcher. So again, still seeing the whole entire first round starting pitcher, second round hitter, and if they do a hitter in the first round, they do a starting pitcher in the second round type of meta at this point. So cool. Fabic has been drafted with the 24th overall pick. The Memphis Kings will be selecting Cade Munson. This is Big Dog. I believe this is another submitted player at this point. This is a catcher prospect. Catcher prospect of good home run power, good contact, no speed, good catching ability, average arm at this point, but a good pickup here for the Memphis Kings behind their Leo Wayne pickup. So Leo Wayne will definitely appreciate this pickup here for Cade Munson. So congratulations. Yeah, the CERA will be very good, and your first round pick of being a starting pitcher with Leo Wayne, that's a good pick right there. That's a good pick. All right. With the 25th overall pick, the Lansing Robins will be selecting Grace Tipton. Grace Tipton is a... Whoop, wrong button. There we go. Grace Tipton is going to be a backyard baseball generic kid at this point. Another starting pitcher type scenario person right here, which is interesting. But again, it fits with our whole entire role model. They selected Jay Mills, a first baseman, in the first round, and now they go for the pitcher in the second round. So, yeah, we're still on this meta, guys. We know what we're doing at this point. So, Grace Amazing Grace Tipton, if you want to call it either direction, is a good starting pitcher who also can actually hit a little bit. So she could actually play in the infield if you wanted her to, or potentially in the outfield. Basically, she's got a really good curveball, slider, changeup. She throws the ball a little bit slower, but overall, very good pickup right there for the Robins. All right, the Bismarck Mythics, with their 26th overall pick, will be selecting Kevin Lewis. Congratulations to Kevo. This is going to be another first base prospect selected by a team, although he has much better fielding than most of our other first basemen at this point, but still has that really good power, good contact, decent enough speed to be able to not get thrown out trying to run to first base on a ground ball occasionally, maybe. Maybe if it's to the outfield, maybe he won't. And a good pickup right there by the Mythics. I believe they had a pitcher in their first round, which I believe was Ryan Tetcher was their first round pickup. So a good first baseman to back up their good pitcher in the first round. So Murfreesboro, the Marmots, with the 27th overall pick, will be selecting Marcellus Marks. This is a lovely name. I love this guy's name. Marks is a shortstop, all-around hitter, very good contact and home run power, good speed, good bunting ability, can play almost any single infield position he'd like, and almost every single outfield position he'd like to be able to play, he can play those too. So congratulations to the Marmots for selecting their first hitter, which they selected, because they selected Greg Maddux in the first round. So we're doing all the hitters now officially. So Marcellus Marks is going to be the next pickup at this point. With the 28th overall pick, the Nobles select Mikey Thomas. Let's see if everyone boos this pick, because unfortunately this is my favorite player. So Mikey Thomas goes to the Nobles to back up Tiffany Bosworth. A good catching prospect of a lot of power. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because the Nobles also play at Jackie Robinson Park, I believe. Or was that somebody else who plays at that stadium? Definitely a interesting pickup in terms of where Mikey should have been in terms of the draft. And all the boos come out of the chat. There we go. Anywho, Mikey Thomas goes to the Queens Nobles as the 28th overall pick. With the 29th overall pick, the Coral Springs Manatees will be picking up Chico Papas. I love this guy's name. Chico Pop-Tart Papas. Good hitting, I guess outfielder, I'd say. Probably going to be playing in center field, right field, left field. Could play first base if he wanted to. Good speed, good hitting ability, a good backup hitter behind, I believe this is behind either Randy Johnson. Yeah, behind Randy Johnson at this point. A pretty decent pick right here for the Manatees. So congratulations to them. Moving on to the Ducks. The Downey Ducks with the 30th overall pick will be picking up. Oh, this is just perfect. Pete Wheeler. We will be on the Ducks, so this is going to be a Quackers statement right here. Pete Wheeler is going to be playing for the Ducks. This is perfect for them. The speed demon with a little bit of contact, not as much power, but definitely some good enough gap power and amazing outfield ability. Will definitely love the Ducks' bigger outfield. This is actually a really solid selection for the Ducks to back up Jay Green, because you could put Jay Green in the outfield with this guy and you're fantastic. So yes, Pete Wheeler goes to the Ducks, which is just perfect in my opinion. The Durham Goats with the 31st overall pick will be picking up Timmy Unger, a catching prospect. This is a generic backyard baseball kid. Pick with the Coyotes to the Goats. We'll see if you guys can get to the teams you want to get to. But this is Timmy Unger, ladies and gentlemen. He's technically not a catcher. He really should be a left fielder. But they might put him behind the dish at this point. Good bunting ability, mostly just because of his eye and ability to have some good enough speed. And his contact's very nice. Good power. A lot of catchers are being drafted early. That is true. I'm noticing that too. A lot of catchers going in the first couple of rounds at this point. We'll see how that goes. So Timmy Unger is your 31st overall pick. 32, which is going to be for the Toronto Giants, and they will be picking up Percy Pounder. The Toronto Giants will be picking up one of the most interesting pitchers in our draft. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Percy Pounder. This is a 108 control, 93 movement, 90 stamina, starting pitcher. Yeah. Percy? Or is it Percy, as his nickname is? He's a left-handed throwing knuckleball, changeup, slider, curveball, fastball pitcher, of course. Very good knuckleball, decent enough fastball. The curveball is a little bit susceptible. Extreme ground ball pitcher. If I remember correctly, Percy has the highest ground ball percentage out of any of the players that were submitted. And I believe it's a 72% ground ball rate. Because he doesn't throw the ball very hard, but oh boy does it move. Like, this guy is going to be putting the ball all over the batter's box and the other batter's box and the backstop. No, I'm just kidding. He'll be putting it right where he wants to with his control. Exactly. If you built him the way you wanted to, congratulations. You did a good job. He will need a good, solid defensive team. He'll be joining, I believe he'll be joining Jay Green? No, he'll be joining Levi Brucht. So that's actually two hitters selected for the Giants. No, my apologies. This is the pitcher. A pitcher and a hitter selected for the Giants. And Levi, actually, yeah, he's a center fielder, so we'll see how important that plays out for him. But he is a very good hitting and fielding center fielder. So Levi is definitely going to make any fly balls be outs as well. So that could be interesting. The batters will be pounding the ball into the ground. Yes. Have your laugh. All right, the Salem Warlocks with the 33rd overall pick will be selecting Arthur Dane. Congratulations. Big guy Arthur Dane will be going to the Warlocks, who had picked up, I believe it was Amanda Hellerman, one of our better pitchers in the league. So congratulations, this is a catcher, huge catcher, ability catcher, good home run power, good contact, very good selection right there for the Warlocks. I definitely approve of that signing right there. Definitely approve of that signing. So good job right there. Good job. All right, the Windsor Whistlers will be picking up with their 34th overall pick, Fabtron 7. Congratulations to Fabtron for that. This is a third base prospect, so this will be playing alongside Benjamin Abenduct, also known as Schnee. So Fabtron has been drafted in the second round, 34th overall. Very good hitting third base position player. Decent enough speed, decent enough home run ability, but the gap power, the contact, the eye discipline, the avoid Ks, very, very good pickup right here. I think this is our first third base pickup, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is the first third baseman pickup that we've had for the entire draft so far. I think you are correct on that. With the 35th overall pick, the Houston Apollos, behind their first signing of, I believe it was Pedro Martinez. Oh my gosh, they're just going to keep going in this format, aren't they? Ken Griffey Jr. Congratulations to the Houston Apollos for selecting another pro player. So first they did Pedro Martinez, now they do Ken Griffey Jr. So, oh my gosh. Whoops, I got to turn that Slack volume off. Hold on a second, guys. You guys don't want to hear when the developers say that I'm doing a good stream. Oh, no. You can't be looking in here in that stuff. Where's my Slack? There it is. Quit. Thank you. There we go. I don't need to have it right now. So, good start here for the Apollos with Pedro Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr. Good double duo at this point. Really good job right there. Ken is a fantastic hitter, even better center fielder, one of our best fielding center fielders. So, congratulations to the Apollos for that pickup. Let's see if their third round pick also is a pro player. So, the Kanata Koalas will get 2 back-to-back picks. With their 36th overall pick, they will pick up Juan Villegas. Juan Killer Villegas. Juan Villegas is a starting pitcher. He'll be backing up Pablo Sanchez. Probably Pablo might be playing the outfield at this point because this is a pretty decent, solid number 1 starting pitcher. Even though he is a fly ball pitcher, he throws sidearm for 96 to 98. He's a power pitcher, high stamina, high fastball, high slider, good curveball and changeup on top of a knuckleball. So that's interesting. So the fastball is not going to move that much, hence the fly ball pitcher. But very good dominating stuff. He'll be able to get a lot of strikeouts, and then whenever he gets the high fly balls, if Pablo's out in center, should be able to catch those balls too. So they get to pick again, though. And with the 37th overall pick, the Kanata Koalas have picked Captain Tennille. I believe this is a third base prospect. Yes, Captain Tennille has been selected as the first person in the third round goes to Captain Tennille. Congratulations, Captain. Third base prospect, very good third base prospect too. High power, actually a really good arm, so you'll make a lot of good plays at third base. A little bit lower on the speed, good contact, good gap power. Very nice pickup at this point. Very, very nice. So congratulations, Captain Tennille, your pick. Third round, overall number 37. Did someone call me before you picked the captain? No one called me, unfortunately. That was not a called thing, unfortunately. Is this something we can download, or did they just create it for themselves? Actually, Emotional Banana, that was actually something that I was going to surprise you all with, but I am going to be making a quick start of this entire league, and you guys can download it. I will probably be working that up on Monday for you all to have. So if you want to play this yourself, it will include all of the logos, and it will include all of the jerseys, but it will not include any of the stadiums. but you can always do the stadiums yourself if you'd like to. And it will include all of the custom-made players who have been submitted. It will include all of that stuff. So unless I'm told by devs that I'm not allowed to, which I don't see why they would say that, but just in case, this will be allowed for all of you to play on your own computers. I have like 3 of these quick starts I need to get out to you guys. So my apologies for the delays on all of those. But we have a couple different quick starts that I need to get out into your guys' hands so you guys can play them with me as well. All right, moving on. We have a lot to go through and not a lot of time. Continuing on with the 38th overall pick, this will be going to the Houston Apollos, and they will be picking up with their third round pick, Shovel Bryant, another third base prospect. Gone away to the draft. Good fielding, but not very good range, Shovel Bryant. And contact, gap power, home run ability, very, very nice. Fly ball, normal, pull hitter. So pretty good player here at this point for the Apollos to be selecting. Very, very nice selection. And that backs up their Pedro Martinez. Oh, so they ditched their whole entire pro player movement to do this. I was expecting them to go out and pick Chipper Jones, but oh well. Shovel Bryant goes in the 3rd round to the Houston Apollos. With the 39th overall pick, the Windsor Whistlers select Nomar Garciaparra, one of the very first shortstop prospects, or the shortstop players to be selected. Nomar goes to the Whistlers. He'll be backing up, oh gosh, I don't even know who they're backing up, Benjamin Abendunkte, and would that have been Fabtron 7? That's correct. So a good selection here for the ground ball pitcher that Schnee or Abenduct is. So good pickup right here for the Windsor Whistlers. I'm actually very happy about this pick right here. That's actually a really good one. With the 40th overall pick, the Salem Warlocks will pick up Zenon Estrada. Zenon Estrada is a second base / shortstop prospect. Most likely they're going to play him at second base, so this will be interesting to see what the Warlocks decide to do with this pickup right here, backing up Hellerman and, was that Arthur Dane? Yes. So behind Arthur Dane and Hellerman is going to be a pretty interesting second base, third base, maybe outfield prospect. Very good home run ability, good contact, average speed, good enough sacrifice bunt for hit. Pretty decent player at this point. Oh no, the Jeter versus Nomars are in the chat now. Anywho, that is the 40th overall pick, Zenon Estrada. The 41st overall pick goes to the Toronto Giants, and they will pick up Keisha Phillips. Congratulations to the Giants. They picked up a Giant in her own rights. This is Keisha Phillips. This is a shortstop / outfield prospect. She'll probably play the outfield, most likely than not. Massive home run hitter with good enough speed to be able to make any person have trouble that she's a girl. Let's just say that her nickname is Flash. So congratulations to the Giants for this selection. She goes behind their selection of Percy Pounder, and I can't read the other person. That was Levi, I believe. So nice. Good pickup right there for the Giants. With the 42nd overall pick, the Durham Goats will be selecting Debbie Nagasawa. If I can type her name correctly, that would be awesome. There we go. Debbie Nagasawa is a second base prospect. Very good hitting second base prospect. Good enough speed to be able to back up her hitting as well. That's true. That is true, Smoked One. That is very true. So yes, Debbie Nagasawa goes to the Durham Goats. Congratulations to them. Good second base, outfield prospect probably as well. She'll probably end up playing the outfield at this point, but a good hitter. Good hitter nonetheless. The Downey Ducks, will be selecting Supernova, a third base prospect. Supernova has good contact, very good contact in fact, good speed, good fielding at third base, and good home run ability. So this will be interesting. The AI will not be doing trades. Unless we believe that there needs to be a rebalancing of a team, we will not be doing any trades. So what you draft is what you get. Unless we believe that somebody has like only 2 pitchers, at which point I will come in and be like, nope, we got to trade some people around, make some deals so you have more pitchers than just 2. But most teams, when I tested this, my apologies, most teams at least picked 4 pitchers. at least. So most teams were just fine being able to handle the draft by themselves. So we're not going to have that. We will not be having injuries. No injuries, no suspensions. It's just play ball as it is. We want them just to play and have fun and see how it goes. So yes, Supernova goes to the Ducks, backing up Pete Wheeler at this point. The Coral Springs Manatees with the 44th overall pick will be selecting, okay, this is going to make me love them now, Larry Walker. Congratulations to Larry Walker. He loves his purples and Expos colors, the Rockies and the Expos. He loves those oddball colors, it looks like. And the mint green carries over into his contact and gap power and his stealing ability. His home run power is pretty decent, and he can play a mean right field. So congratulations to the Manatees for their Larry Walker selection. The Queens will be picking up Tanya Uchida with the 45th overall pick. I'll try to move a little bit faster when we do some of these generic kids. This is the generic kid, Tanya Uchida. Very good hitting a person at this point. Not very much in terms of fielding. So there come the boos. So interesting pickup right here by the Queens Nobles. Not a pitcher, and mostly just in it for her hitting ability. So they may end up putting her at first base. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not as big on that pick, unfortunately. With the 46th overall pick, oh, this is going to make some people happy. The Marmots will be selecting, I'm just going to put down his first name because that's all you guys need to know. It's Ichiro. The Marmots have selected Ichiro Suzuki with the 46th overall pick. And this guy can play a mean outfield, and he hits the ball almost as good as any of the players in this game. So congratulations to the Mumfreesboro Marmots for their Ichiro Suzuki selection. He will be an excellent selection and addition to their team. The Bismarck Mythics will be selecting with their 47th overall pick, Alex Rodriguez. The third base / shortstop prospect based on his Mariners years will now be wearing pink. Oh my gosh, that's great. He looks majestic in his pink. Absolutely majestic in his pink. But this is younger, 22-year-old Alex Rodriguez, who plays a mean shortstop with that amazing arm, great speed and base running, good home run ability, and good contact. Yeah, I was not going to pick up the Rangers or New York Yankees A-Rod. This had to be his 2000 or 1999 version at least. So this is good A-Rod, back when he was becoming a superstar and was fantastic. So congratulations to the Mythics for their third pick, Alex Rodriguez. With the 48th pick, the Lansing Robins will select Maya Woodruff. Interesting. I'm actually a little bit interesting about this here. So Maya is a catching prospect. She can play first base. She can't pitch. She has got good gap power, good contact. But I think there's some better people out there that they could have picked up. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Anywho, Maya Woodruff selected by the Lansing Robins, a catcher for their organization. So interesting. And look at that butt. Oh my gosh. It's so nice. Yeah, she is basically a utility player. So if you're looking for a utility player, she actually would probably be a really good one. She'll fill many, many holes for the Robins at this point, and that'll be all they probably need for right now. The Memphis Kings with the 49th overall pick. Okay, this is going to make a lot of people happy as well. I'll make some water for this one. With the 49th pick, the Memphis Kings select number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2. Congratulations to the Kings. They have their king. Derek, Mr. November Jeter, is now royalty. Congratulations. Boo. Weak pick. No, this is actually a pretty good pick right here. The good contact ability, good gap power, one of the more average shortstops in our game, but really good air. Nomar does get drafted first, that's true. And A-Rod, yes. I mean, Come on, guys. Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense. Stealing ability is way too high. I don't know. I think his stealing ability is really, really good at that point. Way better stealing than you. Well, this is also 24-year-old Derek Jeter, okay? This is 24-year-old Derek Jeter, not 34-year-old Derek Jeter. So this is young Derek Jeter. Yeah, the noodle arm's in there, unfortunately. But his range is average to above average. His air is great. It makes him at least an above average shortstop. And again, this is young Derek Jeter. So, before he started aging and having less and less range and having problems and more problems with the arm. So this is about right for him. He didn't steal bases. I must have put the wrong thing in for base. I'm just kidding. This is an imported version of Derek Jeter, actually. So I don't think I edited him that much at all. So this is Derek Jeter. And again, he'll be going to the Memphis Kings. So congratulations to the Memphis Kings. Good pickup right there for the 49th overall pick. With the 50th pick, if I can spell this person's name correctly, the Centennial Squirrel will be picking up a catcher prospect, Francis Frenchie Bluer. This is one of the generic backyard baseball kids, so we won't talk too much about her. She can play infield, she can play outfield, but she does bat and throw left-handed, so she can't play second, third, or short. And good contact, good power ability, and good enough speed. Very good bunting. Good catching prospect here for the Squirrels to be able to pick up. I don't think they had a catcher yet, so it matches kind of what we've kind of been seeing with a lot of our draft picks so far. The Kansas City Cluckers will be picking up. Oh, this is perfect. This is okay. I'm loving this. They will be picking up their first baseman for the year, Jim Thome, which I don't know why, but that just really makes sense that he goes and plays for Kansas City. I don't know why, but it just feels right. Jim Thome, the massive powerhouse at first base, really isn't a first baseman per se, but really good hitting power slugger at this point. Jim Thome is now a Kansas City Clucker. All right. With the 52nd, except for Kansas City, are all the player awards staying with those players when the season starts, or are those players starting out with 0 awards? The player awards will unfortunately stay because of the fact that that's how they were imported. I'd have to clear all of their history to get rid of those, I believe. So, unfortunately, I think those are all staying the way they are. With the 52nd overall pick, the Louisville Swatters will be picking up Heather Quinn. Heather Quinn is a catching prospect. I believe she also can throw. No, she is just a catching prospect. So Heather Quinn plays a little bit of catching, as well as a little bit of first, and potentially a little bit of second base and third base potentially as well. Good gap power, good contact, decent enough home run ability, not a lot of speed, but good enough bunting to back up her ability to hit. She is a fly ball hitter, though, so we will see about that. So anywho, the Louisville Swatters pick up their catcher potentially for the season, Heather Quinn. Congratulations to them for that. All right, with the 53rd overall pick, the Samuel Beach Captains, if I can spell this person's name correctly too, we'll be selecting Samuel Middleton, another catcher. Samuel Middleton is actually a pretty good hitter at this point. A lot of good gap power, contact, ability to play first base and catcher, very good catching ability, and I believe, yes, Samuel Middleton can also throw some relief innings if he has to. So a good pickup right here by the Beach Captains, or the Virginia Beach Captains, to get a two-way player out of their selection right now. Can we get Friday night GNR Run the Nobles? Yeah, maybe I could. Maybe I could convince one of the other devs to play as one of the teams. I don't know. All right. With the 54th overall pick, the Portland Pioneers will be picking up Mike Piazza. Another catching prospect at this point. Barely he plays catching good enough. I actually had to increase his catching ability, otherwise he literally couldn't play anywhere. Mike Piazza is a massive home run contact hitter. Surprisingly can steal a little bit, but he can't really have any speed to go along with it. But a good pickup right here for the Portland Pioneers. He actually looks really good in that uniform too. So he'll do just good enough behind the dish for them. Hopefully their pitching staff is going to be able to back him up at this point and not have to have too much of a problem with his massively underwhelming fielding ability for Mike Piazza. With the 55th overall pick, I think we're finally into some of the players who were submitted again. Portland Pioneers doing their back-to-back pickups at this point. Pick shortstop Thomas Rose. Thomas Inglewood Rose. This is going to be one of our really good shortstop prospects. Range, air, and turnable play are very, very high. The speed is there. The contact and home run ability are quite good. The arm's a little bit too low, but we'll see if he can play there at this point. Science-proof catching ability isn't terribly important. I mean, it kind of proved that. I don't know if it really proved that per se, but I think it did. Anywho, Thomas Rose, 55th overall pick, goes to the Portland Pioneers. The Captains, again, picking with their next pick at this point, which is... I think I spelled that wrong. I did. With their 56th overall pick Vladimir Guerrero. Congratulations to the Captains for picking up Vladimir Guerrero. A great pickup right there for them. He plays decent enough right field, good home run ability, decent contact, gap power, avoid Ks. Good overall pick right here for the Virginia Beach Captains. And I think they had a pretty big outfield as well. So this is a good pick for them right here. So Vlad Guerrero is the 56th overall pick. 57 goes to the Louisville Sluggers, and they will be picking up Shooter McGavin. Shooter Ace McGavin is a starting pitcher. This is a player-submitted person. Nickname Ace. Throws left-handed, throws 96 to 98, has a decent enough stamina to go probably 7 or 8 innings. Good stuff. Good enough control. A little bit low on the movement. But, yeah, definitely a steal for being this late in the draft. Good pickup right here by the Swatters, picking up a really good fastball, slider, and decent curveball starting pitcher. So, very good job right there by the Swatters to pick up, I believe, their second starting pitcher at this point. The Cluckers will be picking up with their... Let's see if I can figure out how to spell this guy's name. So the Kansas City Cluckers will be picking up Marty Bigfly. I'm surprised he didn't go with the next pick to the Squirrels, since his nickname is literally Squirrel. But the Kansas City Cluckers would not let him go to that late in the round. He'll be a second base prospect by default. He throws right-handed, bats left. Good power, good contact. Not very good range, unfortunately. No, unfortunately, nobody put in Happy Gilmore, unfortunately. I wish there was a Happy Gilmore, but unfortunately, there is not. No fair territory. There is no limit on the amount of packs you can get. I have gotten 54 packs over the course of the last, week or however long we've had it activated, so there is no limit on how many you are allowed to get. If you're having problems, log out and log back in and see if that works. Was there a Roy Hobbs? There might have been a Roy Hobbs. I don't remember. Anyway, I don't think I showed you guys Marty Bigfly. My apologies. Marty Bigfly, second base prospect, not a lot of range, good hitting ability, but definitely going to be a little bit of an issue for his team in terms of his fielding. Hopefully the Cluckers will be able to have a good shortstop to back him up. Yeah, that defensive range is a little bit hard to stomach at this point, but interesting pickup right there for the Cluckers. We'll see what happens with that. The 59th overall pick. Hey, that's a good pickup right there. The Centennial Squirrels will be picking up Cal Ripken Jr. Congratulations to the Squirrels. They picked up a really good fielding shortstop in Cal Ripken Jr. He's not the hitter that I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen me use for him, but I did want to get... it was harder because it was later in his career, so I couldn't really go for his hitting version of himself, but I at least got the fielding in there, so we have his really good infield range. Definitely will be a very good pitcher to have behind any ground ball pitchers. I'm kind of surprised other teams didn't prioritize someone like Cal. Instead of picking up people like Derek Jeter or even Alex Rodriguez and Nomar Garciaparra. I'm surprised they went with this guy. But yeah, good pickup right there by the Squirrels. That'll be a good one. He looks very good in red, by the way, too. I like that. The Memphis Kings will be picking up with their next pick. I can't remember if this is the correct spelling. Luke Gofanen. Gofanen? I don't know how to pronounce this, unfortunately, but this is a outfield prospect. Luke Gofanen, the loner, is a switch-hitting, heavy offensive-laden outfielder with decent enough speed. Probably going to be slotted into left field because the range and arm are not very good. But not a bad pickup right here for the Memphis Kings. And definitely a good enough player. He'll be playing a lot of left field. He'll probably hit very well for the home run of 92 power. That's pretty good at this point. Should be very, very nice. Yes, you do need to make sure you are watching the tab with a stream. So yeah, if you have it like tabbed out in the background, I don't know, but I think Twitch stops counting viewers if they are not either having the tab be active or certain if it's minimized or something, then they know you're not technically watching it. So the sound on for drops. Oh gosh, that would be amazing if we had sound on for drops, but I think that would become very annoying if people had that happening every single 15 minutes. I'd probably mute the stream or at least mute the drop sound at that point. But that is an interesting idea. You cannot mute the stream. If you mute the stream, you are not counted as a viewer. Yes. So you do need to have it up and running and live. Otherwise, it will not count. So yeah, you guys are correct. Anywho, Luke Gofanen. Gofanen, I don't know how to pronounce that name, unfortunately, is the 60th overall pick. With the 61st overall pick, the Lansing Robins will pick up Chipper Jones, also known as Larry. Chipper Jones plays an average third base. He can also play a little bit of left field at this point. He has home run power, good enough contact, gap power, eye discipline, and avoid Ks, and just a little bit of speed to match at this point. This is 26-year-old Chipper Jones, by the way. And he is going to the Lansing Robins, so congratulations to the Robins for that pickup right there. The Bismarck Mythics would be picking up with the 62nd overall pick, David Van Hute. He is a second base shortstop prospect. Probably will be slotting into second base with his air, arm, and double play. He's very good on the contact and eye discipline and avoid Ks. Not very good on the speed, but good enough to bunt and probably going to be an average infielder at this point. So not too bad. Not too bad in terms of picking up David Van Hute as the 62nd overall pick. So yeah, very good contact. 90 is very, very good at this point. With the 63rd overall pick, the Marmots will be selecting Phil Nevin. Another third base prospect at this point. He plays also left field and first base. Phil Nevin has a lot of pop in his bat. 84 overall power, 71 contact, 60 eye discipline, 57 gap power. Not very fast. Not the best of infielders. Yeah, all these extreme ground ballers are going to have nightmares because everyone's going to be putting the ball in the outfield. So it's going to be a very heavy homer-heavy league, unfortunately. But yeah, Phil Nevin goes to the Marmots. Congratulations to them for that pickup. All right, time to get their boos and chats back out again. The Queens. The Queens Nobles have picked up Isosceles Triangle. This is one of the weirder named people in all of our game. Adding on to the Queen Nobles team, a batting left, throwing right, second base, shortstop prospect, very good home run power, a little bit of contact, a little bit of gap, and there goes the boos. Bit of a reach here, I think, as well. I think there's some better people out there at this point, but Isosceles Triangle goes to the Queens Nobles. Congratulations to them. Oh, I didn't show it off to you guys. Hold on. He's not on screen. There we go. Isosceles Triangle. There you guys go. That's the player in question. There was a submitted player as well, too. So, not too bad on the defense, although the range is definitely going to hold him back. But he'll make every single play he can get to. And the speed's not terrible, power's good, and the hitting is not too bad as well. So, good player right there for the Queens Nobles. All right. Coral Springs, the Manatees. we'll be picking up Joe No-Show Slobotnik. Congratulations to the shortstop prospect, Joe. Very good fielding shortstop, second base prospect at this point. No. One of the generic players is not named Isosceles Triangle. That would have been a reach even for the developers of Backyard Baseball. So congratulations to the bottom of the sixth and his Joe Slobotnik, no-show prospect, good contact, good eye discipline, avoid Ks, great speed, and good second base shortstop ability at this point. Very, very good. Very, very good. All right, with the 66th overall pick, the Downey Ducks select Todd Helton, also known as the Todd Father. The real Todd Father for everybody out there. Todd Helton joins the Green Downey Ducks and Pete Wheeler at that point as well. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Good first base defense, good gap power, not as much home run power as his original import had him out to be. I actually had to dole that back, otherwise he was way too good. Rockies Todd Helton confirmed. Oh, good grief. You guys do realize this is just the 2001, 2002, and 2003 players, right? Like, I'm not confirming nothing here. Nothing's happening. I ain't confirming nothing here. This is a really nice pick. Yeah, I actually have to agree. This is a really nice pick. Good hitting ability from Todd Helton at this point. Bats left, throws left. First base is, potential Gold Glove ability for him at this point. Great pickup here by the Ducks. I think that's a very good pick. Very, very good pick. All right, the Durham Goats pick up. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he lasted this long before getting picked. The Goats pick up Albert Pujols, the GOAT. The Goats have picked up the GOAT. I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick up Pablo Sanchez, the GOAT. Yeah, Albert Pujols, left field first base person, goes to the Durham Goats. The Goats have picked up the GOAT at this point. Let me go ahead and show you guys his page before I forget about doing that. Yes, Albert Pujols has been selected by the Durham Goats. This is Prince Albert. This is his 20-year-old version. Yeah, 2001 was a good year. A lot of people joined MLB at the right time. And then, of course, 03 and 05 were also very good, too. So, yeah, Albert Pujols goes to the Durham Goats. Congratulations for the GOAT to go to the Goats. I'm going to keep making that joke until it dies. I'm sorry. Anywho, the Toronto Giants are going to pick up another Giant in her own right, Hannah Peavy. An interesting person. I believe she's technically a catcher. And a fun one at that. So the Giants have picked up Hannah Peavy, a hitting catcher, with pretty generic overall abilities to play catcher, so she'll do a good enough job at this point, but her home run power and contact is very nice. She can play a couple other positions, but we'll see what happens about that. She's a very good pickup. Congratulations to the Giants for that one right there. The Salem Warlocks are picking up with the 69th overall pick, Fred Benson. Benson is a center field prospect, very, very good outfielder. He should be able to play just fine for most of these outfield positions. Yeah, 6'4", 230. Giant, all right. The Giants are picking up all of the Giants players, so that's actually really nice. Anywho, Salem Warlocks pick up Fred Benson, 6'2", 190 pounds, good gap power, good fielding ability, can also play first base if he wants to. Left in terms of batting and throwing, so very good speed, very good bunting ability. He's a fly ball hitter again, extreme pull, normal fly ball tendency though. Very, very nice pickup right here for the Warlocks. I actually very much like this pick as well. With the 70th pick, we've only gone through 70. Oh my gosh, we've got a long way to go. Gonna have to speed this up. With the 70th pick, the Windsor Whistlers will be picking up Tony Mr. Padre Gwynn. Technically, I'm leaving out senior because I never referred to Tony Gwynn as Tony Gwynn Sr. He was always just the Tony Gwynn, in my opinion. But decent enough right field, good contact. This is, again, 38-year-old Tony Gwynn, unfortunately. So, hey, that's just how it is, unfortunately. No speed for this version of Tony Gwynn, but the contact, the avoid Ks, all there. Very good pickup by the Whistlers. He actually kind of fits the bill for a Whistler, too. I'm actually kind of glad he has the mustache and everything. That actually kind of makes sense. So, good pickup right there for the Whistlers with the 70th pick overall. 71 goes to the Houston Apollos, and they will be picking up Matessa Sturgis. Nice. This is actually a really good pickup right here as well. Excuse me 1 second. Needed to sneeze there, and I didn't want you all to hear it. Anywho, Matessa Sturgis is a very good starting pitcher going to the Apollos team. And, oh no, I'm sorry, not a starting pitcher, relief pitcher. This is our first relief pitcher selected in our entire draft. This is a closer relief pitcher. Matessa Sturgis throws 93 to 95, extreme ground ball, high control, high stuff. So very good closer. Yep, closer / relief pitcher at this point. And on top of that, she can hit. Matessa can also play the infield and a little bit of the outfield. So she can almost do anything you wish to do at this point. So you want her to be a bullpen person? Fine. You want to put her in the outfield first? Go for it. Put her out in right field, have her play over the entire course of the game, and then pull her in from right field to pitch the 9th inning. She can do it. Good for her. So that's a good pickup right there for the Apollos. Yeah, this would be a good pickup for PT at this point. Hey now. Nah, that's true. She can't really make many balls. She can't really catch much in the outfield, unfortunately. She does have some struggles with the errors. As well as on the infield, she has problems with the errors. So, yeah. Oi now, guys. Come on. Don't go that route. All right. Anywho. Yep, here come the champion Koalas picks. So we do have 2 back-to-back picks for the Koalas. So if 72, the 72nd overall pick, they will be selecting Amelia Bean Connolly. And I believe this is actually a submitted players person right here. Very good outfield prospect here by Amelia Bean Connolly. Good contact, good eye discipline, avoid Ks, good sacrifice bunt and bunt for hit. She's not really a speed demon, but she knows how to put the ball down when it comes to bunting. She's really good in the outfield. Very solid outfield prospect at this point. So good pickup right there by the Koalas for their number 1, for their first of 2 picks. Ooh, you guys aren't going to like this one, though. So unfortunately, you guys aren't going to like this pick as much because unfortunately I did include him because he was in the 2001 Backyard Baseball game. With the 73rd overall pick, the Kanata Koalas pick Curt Schilling. And I know a lot of you are not going to be as happy about that one, but that's okay. You guys can do whatever you want about that one. I really don't mind. I did not include Bonds. Canseco, and who was the last person I didn't include? There were 3 people I did not include. Yep, there's the boo. Yeah, you guys can just boo it. That's fine. But anywho, this is Curt Schilling. He'll throw at Pablo. If he can hit Pablo, sure. Pablo's pretty small. Shawn Green is in. Yes, Shawn Green is here. Yeah, he exists. In the end, that's who it was. I think it was Sosa. I couldn't let Sosa in. That's right. No. Sosa's here, I believe. It was McGuire, Canseco, and Bonds. I believe those 3 guys I just couldn't conceivably have in this game. I just couldn't because of their situations. I just couldn't do that. But anywho, Curt Schilling is going to be their second starter, I believe. Backing up Connolly? No. I think it's backing up the second pick they did. But yeah, so that'll be one of their starting pitchers at this point. Curt Schilling going to the Koalas. Oh, speaking of Shawn Green, the Apollos, with their 74th overall pick, will be picking up Shawn Green to play their outfield positions, right field and left field. And Shawn Green, Pedro, did they pick up Pedro? That's right. They didn't pick up Pedro. They picked Pablo. Pedro went to Houston. Pablo went to the Koalas. That's the number 1 overall pick. So Shawn Green goes to the Houston Apollos at this point. Good pickup right there by Houston. Very good hitting outfielder. Good speed. Knows how to run the bases very well. Decent enough outfielder. Very good pickup right there by the Apollos. Good job right there. I'm just gonna keep saying good job. Oh, a good one right here. Although it might be a little bit debatable, but still good pickup right here. the Windsor Whistlers have picked up their catcher. They have picked up Ivan Rodriguez. Pudge, as he is known to anybody who knows him, looks amazing in the Whistlers green. That looks great. He'll be a good addition to Cal Ripken Jr. and, Nomar Garciaparra and Tony Gwynn. So a lot of the pro players here going to the Whistlers. Again, good catching ability right here by Pudge. We're going to have good contact, gap power, home run ability, avoid Ks. Speed is up there as well. Very nice pickup right here by the Windsor Whistlers. Good job. Good job. Yes, we are going to be going for the longest stream ever. We will never have this long of a stream again, okay? If Rich is watching, this is not happening again. But I knew this was going to be the longest stream because there's just so much to go through, and we wanted to get the draft done, and there's a lot of people. So it's not going to be 24 hours, guys. It's probably going to be 3 hours, and I'm going to be winded by the end of it, but it's going to be worth it. Salem, the Warlocks have pick number 76, and they will be picking Kenny Kawaguchi. Nice pickup right there by the Salem Warlocks. A good starting pitcher with Kawaguchi. Good enough control. Good ability to do stuff. His changeup is one of the best in the game, outside of maybe Pedro Martinez. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Same thing next Saturday, but not for 3 hours, most likely. We'll probably just look at a couple of games and watch people play. Keep this going for real baseball with like 40-round drafts? Good grief, no way. No. This is the K-Man, Kenny Kawaguchi. He's actually a ground ball sidearm pitcher because he actually has to turn his wheelchair around to be able to throw the ball. At least that's how he did it in the first game. So good pickup right there by the Warlocks. There should be 2 more days of drafting? Oh my gosh. You know, we could do that. I could pause it and be like, the rest of the rounds are tomorrow. We'll be coming back to pick it up. But no. If anything, we'll probably start skipping some stuff, or I won't show stuff. So, yeah. Anywho, so that was the Salem Warlocks pick for 76. Now 77th is going to be Joey, and I gotta remember how to pronounce this. Oh gosh, how on earth do you pronounce this? Andruski? Andrzejewski. Andruski, I believe, is what this guy's name is. This is a starting pitching prospect. Very good control and movement. Not a whole lot in the pitching category area besides the screwball, of course. And very, very interesting pick right here by this team. Extreme ground ball, though, would make for an excellent backup starter, emergency starter, or bullpen person. So we'll see what happens to this guy right here. Should be a lot of fun with Joseph Andrzejewski. I think that might be how it is. Andrzejewski? Yeah. If I'm never going to pronounce it, unfortunately. Another pitch-to-contact player. That is very true. Yes, that is a pitch-to-contact player, and this is a follower's submission. Yes, that is correct. All right, 78th overall pick goes to the Durham Goats, and they will be selecting with it Tom, he who must not be named, Riddle. I'm dead serious. Somebody submitted Tom Riddle. I almost wanted to go and grab a picture of he who must not be named just for the fun of it, but instead I went ahead and just picked the generic name at this point. So Tom Riddle entered into the Durham Goats team as a center fielder, could also play left field or right field, so he who must not be named is in the game, and that's all we're going to say about that. Just kidding. Good speed, good defense, very average hitter, but good power. Good power. All right. Pick number 79 overall is going to be, and this was debatable, but I liked him for his early years, Jason Giambi. Giambino, as he is known by anybody who knows him, goes to, that seems appropriate that he goes to the Downey Ducks, because he was in Oakland, and this is the year he was in Oakland that I imported him. So good home run power, good contact. Really doesn't play the field that well, but, not too bad of a player right here. Anytime a Yankee is picked, that would actually be very convenient to have a Yankee just like alert him and be like, a Yankee has been mentioned in a stream of yours. In a stream of OTP, a Yankee has now been alerted for you. Giambi does count as a Yankee, although I count him as a Oakland A's player. That's what he really is in my eyes. So Jason Giambi goes to the Downey Ducks. The Coral Spring Manatees will be picking up Brooklyn Cause Beatdown. I don't know why Beatdown, but I'm going to assume it's for something else, some kind of a reference. This is a third base prospect. Very good third base prospect, too. Good contact, avoid Ks, eye discipline, no power what to speak of. But Brooklyn will do a good job at third base, and she has average speed to go along with it. Very good person, a very good pickup right here by the Coral Spring Manatees. All right, you guys can get your booze ready again. The Queens Nobles pick up with their 81st overall pick, Ed Barker. Ed Barker is a pitcher, I believe he's a starting pitcher. Yep, starting pitcher, added on to the Queens Nobles team. Here come the booze. Good stuff, actually. 90 shooting, 94 miles an hour, neutral tendencies for fastball and, for breaking ball, ground balls and fly balls. Wow, my brain is seeing the FB and thinking fastball. But really good fastball, curveball, slider, changeup ability. Has a knuckleball as well. So Wombat, this is actually a submitted player. And a very good submission it was, too, at this point. So definitely not a reach pick right here. Probably actually a steal in all regards at this point. So the Queens Nobles may have gotten away with a lot right here. But Wombat, Ed Barker, goes to the Nobles. Congratulations to them. Murfreesboro. The Marmots will be picking up Raul Mondesi. Yes, we do have Raul Mondesi in this game. He is a very good fielding right fielder, good power, good speed. This is 27-year-old Raul Mondesi, even though he looks like he's absolutely infuriated that he's on a Marmots team at this point. But very good pickup right here by the Marmots. Definitely enjoying to see Raul Mondesi in the game at this point as well. So, hope you guys like that pick right there. After the Marmots is going to be the Bismarck Mythics, and they will be picking up, oh, nice. They got a good pick. Eric Gagne. Eric Gagne goes to the pink uniformed Mythics. That is looking so appropriate, in all honesty. Let me go ahead and show it to you guys here. Oh, very, very good. Good stuff, good curveball, good fastball, good forkball relief pitcher for the Bismarck Mythics. Right-handed throwing, 95, 97 mile an hour, Eric Gagne has joined the pink squad. And no glasses. I don't know why we don't have glasses for him, but I guess he's wearing contacts right now. So, yeah, we'll see about that. So the Mythics are done. Next up is Lansing. And Lansing is going to pick, this is the Robins. They will pick Pico Cilantro de Gallo. Congratulations. I know somebody in here has Pico de Gallo. That is their submission. And Pico de Gallo has been picked up by the Lansing Robins. A really quite a good starting pitcher at this point. If you wanted stamina and really a lot of greens, not a lot of weaknesses, definitely one of the more average starting pitchers, but you'll take that at this point. So congratulations. Yeah, Hunter, that's yours. Congratulations. So good pickup right here for the Lansing Robins. I feel like that's a really good number 2 starter. If you ever had to pick one up, that would be a pretty good one right about there. He'll eat innings. He'll do a good job. He may get whacked around a little bit, but he's not going to be as bad as waiting for a couple more rounds and having to pick somebody else. So he's perfectly slotted in round number 3. I feel like he's really good right where he is. Actually, no, we're in round number 5. My apologies. We're in round 5 for Pete's sake. I'm losing track. Anywho, that is Pico de Gallo. Good job right there, guys. Good job, good job. Good submission. With the 85th overall pick, the Memphis Kings pick up Tim Hudson, a former Oakland A's pitcher. This is prime Tim Hudson. Very good overall pitcher. Basically the same thing as Pico de Gallo now that I'm looking at it. Like, seriously, fastball, sinker, curveball, slider. Forkball is the only difference. Tim Hudson has all the greens as well. Round 5 of 50. That's what it feels like. Actually, it's round 5 of 13, so we're almost halfway. Almost halfway at this point. You just introed him with Jeff Dunham's jalapeno voice. I'm sorry, but that is how you would do it. I mean, really, it is. That's how you would do it. I thought Pico was a default name. Oh, no. No, that's a submission right about there. So, anyway, Tim Hudson joins the Robins. No, the Kings. My apologies. The Memphis Kings picked up Tim Hudson. So, a good job right there picking up their second starter. The Squirrels will pick up Betty Houston, another pitcher selection at this point. And this is another starting pitcher selection. Betty Houston has the fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. Control's really good. Stuff is really good. I don't know how Bacon Bits is still on the board. I would have thought his name alone would have gotten him recognition at this point. But he is still on the board somehow, and I don't know why. Oh, good grief. Now we're starting to sing the Halfway There song. Oh, good grief. Anywho, good pickup right here for the Squirrels. Houston, very good left-handed starting pitcher. Submariner, finesse pitcher. 87, 89, good off-speed stuff. Very good pickup right there by the Squirrels. Definitely going to enjoy that. All right. The Kansas City Cluckers pick up. I believe this is a generic kid, so we'll probably move through him real fast. Bobby Bullgreen. I think that's how it's pronounced. 83 stuff, 47 movement, 110 control, very good off-speed pitches, terrible fastball, another finesse fly ball, 87 to 89 overall, or mile per hour pitcher. Decent enough stamina to be a starter, but definitely has some weaknesses that can be exploited. Definitely going to need to make sure that he has good outfielders to back up his ability to pitch. So, interesting pickup right there by the Kansas City Cluckers, but they have had a pretty good team outside of that pick, so no worries so far. Louisville picks up. Wow, I can't believe he dropped this low, but this is interesting. All right, Louisville Swatters. This seems appropriate too. They have picked up Ahmed Khan, the power-hitting second base slash third base slash left fielder from the generic, or not from the generic, from the Backyard Baseball Kids group. Ahmed Khan, one of the crowd favorites for a lot of backyard baseball players. We finally have one of the Backyard Baseball Kids being selected again. I mean, we only have 30 kids out of 235 players. It's going to be hard to get one every single time. But Khan, very nice player. He'll do a lot of good work, especially if your outfield is deep or shallow, depending upon homers versus doubles. Very, very good hitter right there. Yep, got to get his brother too. Got to get Amir. Ahmed's headphones are legal as long as we are allowed a channel to listen on them as well, because we absolutely love his rock music. So, hey, as long as we can listen to it as well, not a problem. The Virginia Beach Captains will be selecting with their 89th overall pick, Cliff Floyd. An interesting pickup right here. Left fielder, power hitter, Cliff Floyd. Kind of similar to Ahmed Khan, a little bit better speed, a little bit better fielding. A little bit worse on the avoid Ks, however. Floyd was part of the 2003 game, if I remember correctly. He didn't go to Houston. There's no way he's cheating. Exactly. So as long as it's, as long as it's not, as long as it's not, I guess, bad music, it's not a problem. But it has to fit our bill. So Cliff Floyd goes to the Virginia Beach Captains. A good pickup right there. Good outfielder. He'll do a good job. All right, finally a submitted player at this point. The Portland Pioneers, with their first of two selections back-to-back, will pick up Doc Holliday. This is a player-submitted person. Very good stuff. Fastball, curveball, slider, and of course the fourth pitch selected was a splitter. 78 overall stamina, 101 stuff, 62 movement, 44 controls, a little bit low. But the fly ball ability at 95 to 97 arm is very, very nice. So good job right there by the Pioneers to pick up Doc Holliday. Congratulations to whoever submitted that person and now has him on Portland. So Portland, with their second pick, is going to pick up Jeff Bagwell. Bagpipes Bagwell is a very good hitter. Very good home run power, eye discipline, gap power, and even his contact's not too bad. He'll play first base good enough for a lot of people, and his speed is quite generous. It's actually pretty good. He was having some good stealing days when he was younger, and he's a right-handed hitting, right-handed fielding, first baseman. A good job by Portland right there. A good pickup, if I do say so myself. Okay, so that is the beginning of the 6th round. Whew. I might need to take a break for a second here. And I don't know if... Let me see. We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just seeing all the notifications about stuff now at this point. Yes, Dishnet, take over the commentary. I mean, we'll probably just start going faster and faster as we go through stuff at this point. I'm just believing that maybe... Fabtron, you already got selected. You got selected in the... second round to the... Who were you selected to? I know you're on the list here someplace. Yeah, 34th overall pick. Which went to... I can't find you on the list now for some reason. Yeah, Whistlers, right? Yeah, Whistlers. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We might stop showing the cards off for other people. Because, yeah, we don't really care that much for all these other positions that are coming out. So, continuing on, I'll just keep updating the list. You guys can see them. And then whenever we hit submitted players, I will show you guys those submitted players. And that's probably going to be the best option at this point. Because now we're at round number 6. We're almost at the halfway mark. And we'll be pretty good at this point. So, Virginia Beach selects Jessica Wassersis, which is a generic kid starting pitcher prospect. Very good job right there by them. The Louisville Swatters pick up another Swatter, Troy Gloss, third base prospect. So that'll be a fun one for them. The Kansas City Cluckers pick up Parker Collum, which I believe is not a submitted player. No, that is not a submitted player, unfortunately. So Parker Collum, a very good pickup for them right there. Left fielder, outfield prospect Parker Collum for Kansas City Cluckers. The Squirrels will pick up Sophie Mayer, who is another outfield prospect. So all the outfielders are coming across now. That's another generic kid right there. The Memphis Kings will pick up Sammy Sosa. So Sammy Sosa is in the game. I had forgotten if he was or not. So the Memphis Kings pick up Sammy Sosa. Congratulations to them. So we're going to speed through all of this stuff, guys. Oh my gosh, more of the pro players being selected. The Lansing Robins select Greg Vaughn, an outfield prospect. The Bismarck Mythics select Brenda Marquardt, who I believe is a starting pitching prospect. That's right. Very good starting pitching prospect. Very high speed pitching prospect. So a good job right there by the Mythics. Murfreesboro. The Marmots have selected Tom Delgado, who is a submitted player. So we'll look at this guy real fast. Tom Delgado, starting pitcher, 96 to 98, over the top, power pitcher, neutral on the ground ball, a fly ball tendencies. So we'll see about that. Good stuff, good fastball, slider, decent curveball, and a pretty good screwball to match. Not to mention a pretty decent changeup. So overall, good pickup right there by the Murfreesboro Marmots. That is going to be impossible to say every single time. Striking Pablo out every single time. Absolutely. All right, get your booze ready. The Queens Nobles have picked up Amir Khan. So they pick up Ahmed's brother. We don't get to see the reunion of the Khans on the same team because I'm pretty sure didn't Ahmed get drafted for... Yeah, he got drafted for a different team earlier. Yeah, the Swatters got the brother, unfortunately. So we're not going to see the brother duo, unfortunately, but that's okay. The Manatees will be not polling or picking. They will be selecting Dontrell Willis. And I spelled his name wrong because I don't know how to spell when I'm starting to get winded. Dontrell Willis goes to the Manatees. Very nice pickup right there for them, actually. So that should be a lot of fun. We still have hope for the Weber Twins. That's correct. We still have hope that the Weber Twins go on the same team. All right. The Downey Ducks pick up Nancy Chin. Her nickname is Drew, by the way, but that is a generic player, so we're not going to take a look at her, but she is a starter, I believe, or a relief pitcher. So the Ducks pick up Nancy Drew Chin, and the Durham Goats will pick up with the 103rd overall pick, T.J. Lauerman. And I gotta remember how to spell his name correctly. TJ is a starting pitching prospect. Good stuff. Fireball pitcher, power pitcher over the top, neutral ability, and then the good fastball, slider, changeup, splitter, and curveball. The movement's a bit low, but he'll do a good job no matter what happens. Yeah. You see what I did right there? Of course. Toronto, the Giants, will pick up, speaking of the Webbers, Ashley Weber has been selected by the Toronto Giants as the 104th overall pick. With the 105th pick, the Salem Warlocks pick Ernie Steele. If you guys don't remember Ernie Steele, let me just show him off to you really fast. This is Ernie Steele, very good relief pitcher. Should be a good one for the Salem Warlocks to have selected in the 6th round, I believe. So good job right there by the Warlocks. Windsor, the Windsor Whistlers will pick up Maria Luna, another starting pitching prospect selected at this point. The Whistlers, I think, have a couple at this point, too. So, yeah. Yes, and Ernie Steele's a good first baseman as well. The Houston Apollos will pick up Evan. I don't think I spelled his nickname correctly, but Evan Screwball. This is a user-submitted player at this point. Let's go ahead and take a look at Evan. Is it Big E? Big E. Yes. So, Big E, Evan Screwball, is a starting pitcher with pretty much grains across the board at this point. He throws, of course, a screwball, no duh. Changeup, slider, curveball, fastball, 94 to 96. Sidearm, though. So it'll be very interesting to see what that looks like when it comes to pitching. But no biggie. No biggie. It's the Big E. I mean, come on. Big E. No biggie. Big E. So, yes. Evan Screwball joins the Houston Apollos. They're looking like a pretty good team at this point with Pedro Martinez and Ken Griffey Jr. and Sean Green. So I'm very happy that you joined the Apollos at this point. All right. The Koalas get 2 picks. Jeremy Burnitz is going to be their first selection. And their second selection is going to be Frank Thomas. Congratulations to the Koalas for picking up Frank Thomas and Jeremy Burnitz. So, wow, a couple of back-to-back pro players are about there. The Apollos will pick Peggy Heffernan, which is a generic player, unfortunately, so no review there. The Windsor Whistlers will pick up Jeff Conine. Jeff Conine is an outfielder, if you guys haven't heard about him. He used to play for Baltimore. Very good player. The Salem Warlocks will pick up Juan Gonzalez, as we're now just moving through all the pro players at this point. And the Toronto Giants will pick up another Giant in his rights. They'll pick up Carlos Delgado. So Carlos Delgado goes to the Toronto Giants. Interesting pickups across the board at this point. Oh. Okay, here we go. Here comes the first actual submitted player for a while. The Durham Goats will pick up T. Richardson. T. Cap Richardson is a third base prospect. Good hitting ability all across the board. Not so much on the speed, but definitely a good third base prospect at this point for the Durham Goats. So congratulations on the switch hitting, right throwing third baseman who hits line drives for the Durham Goats. So a good job right there. Okay, the Downey Ducks will pick up Luann Louie. So we won't have to review her. Another starting pitcher right there. The Coral Springs Manatees pick up Pee-wee It McGee. Pee-wee McGee is another submitted player at this point. Pee-wee has some pretty decent fielding ability. Speed's pretty good across the board. Good bunting ability. Generally average to a little bit above average hitting ability. So a good prospect right here for second or shortstop. We have had one Weber. We have had one Weber get selected. So, again, Pee-wee McGee, selected by the Coral Springs Manatees. So all the E's are there. It only makes sense that Pee-wee McGee plays for the Manatees. That just makes sense at this point. Yes, the Ashley Weber was selected pick number 104. So he just had one of them get selected at this point. The Queens. So get your booing chants ready again. Pick up Bobby Little Red McCoy. Or McCoy. McCoy, I think? This is another submitted player at this point. Really good shortstop, second base prospect at this point. Good speed, good contact, good eye discipline. Not so much in the power, unfortunately. Can you get a booing sound effect? I have to get one for the next game, unfortunately. But yes, the Queens Nobles pick up Bobby McCoy. So congratulations to them. A good pickup right there for the Nobles. Murfreesboro pick up Julie Dunkel. Her nickname is Andrews, if you understand that reference. The Bismarck Mythics will be picking up Eric von Köln. And I gotta remember how to spell this correctly. Coelln. Köln. His nickname is EVC. And a very good outfield prospect here. Although his range is going to hold him back, but that's just because of his speed. You see what I did there? Yeah. I did that for a lot of the generic kids. If they had a chance to have a nickname that would make them funny, I tried to go for it. But good hitting here by EVC. Right-handed batting, right-handed fielding, line drive outfielder. Pretty good gap power. A good enough ability to play outfield. I'm kind of surprised it's that low with all of that air and arm. But that's just the way the AI did it, unfortunately. The Ducks start dropping. Good grief. Good grief. Lansing, the Robins, have the 120th pick, and that is going to be Carlos Beltran. So we are going to see Carlos Beltran be added into this game. I took him back when he was with Kansas City, okay? That's what I did. The Memphis Kings will pick up Lindsey Felgate. And I don't think that's a submitted player. I think that's a generic player. Yes, that is a generic player, unfortunately. So Felgate has the ability to be a relief pitcher or a hitter. So a good job right there. Yes, you can do the banging for that one, for the Beltran pickup. The Squirrels will be picking up Simon Peter, nicknamed SP. He is not a starting pitcher, unfortunately. He's actually a third base prospect. So very good third base prospect. Probably one of the only really good fielding third base prospects at this point that were submitted into our game. Simon Peter has above average contact and above average eye discipline, really good speed, really good fielding. Not so much on the power or the gap power, but he'll still do a good enough job. So congratulations to the Centennial Squirrels for picking up Simon SP Peter. The Kansas City Cluckers, with the 123rd pick, will pick up Alan Holzman. This is a relief pitching prospect out of the generic kids group, so we're not going to touch base on him. The Louisville Swatters, that's fantastic. They pick up Jocinda Smith. So another Swatter goes to the Swatters, with Jocinda Smith, catcher/first base prospect, going to Louisville. The Virginia Beach Captains will pick up Naomi Murray, which is another submitted player. She plays first base quite well. This is probably one of the more average players that were submitted in this game. She is a right first baseman with good enough speed, good enough infield range, and great gap power, decent contact, decent eye, and a lot of stuff averages out. So this is probably one of the more average players that we had submitted into the game. Yeah, a very good balance. No relationship at all. None. Moving on. Everyone was submitted to the same forum. Don't worry. Moving on, we have Portland with their 2 picks back-to-back. Sydney Weber. So unfortunately, we are not going to see the Twins on the same team, as Sydney Weber does not get to join her sister, as she will unfortunately be playing on the Portland Pioneers. Alex Murray has not gone off the board yet. I'm still waiting for my own personal player to be drafted, and it's starting to get a little bit sad, because I didn't think I was that bad, but I guess I was. The second pick the Portland Pioneers will make is Bobby Higginson. That's true, we haven't seen Tony Del Vecchio get drafted either. There's a chance for the Del Vecchio twins to be on the same team, too. All right, here we go. Here's another player officially. The 128th overall pick, Virginia Beach Captains select pitcher Rex T-Rex Fuller. Congratulations to T-Rex. I know you're in the channel, I believe. Good starting pitcher, average on the stamina and hold runners, but a lot of green, and you like to see that. 91 to 93 miles per hour, neutral. So he's basically an average pitcher, which is good. So not a bad pickup right there for the Virginia Beach Captains. A lot of green, and you like to see that. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done for T-Rex. So good job right there. Louisville will pick up Brad Radke with the 129th overall pick. The Kansas City Cluckers will pick up Biggie Beltre. Biggie Headshot Beltre is a third base prospect. Good power, good speed, good overall ability to be a good hitter, and just a really good ability to play third base. So probably going to be one of our better third basemen in terms of fielding, although we've had better. But good overall player at this point, and very, very, very nicely done. So that goes to the Kansas City Cluckers at this point. All right. Rory T is our next selection. He goes to the Centennial Squirrels. This is a outfield prospect, very good range, good speed, good contact. Ducky is his nickname. Rory T is going to be a very good outfield defender as well as speed demon on the base paths when he can get on base with his good contact and good bunting ability. So a good job right there by, I'm guessing that is RDLTs. There you go. Good job. That's a good needed person right there. He can play almost any outfield position he wants, and his speed makes him a very good prospect for the Squirrels. So a good job right there. Memphis will be picking up with their selection. This is pick number 132, Kirk Reeder. This is Mantis. So Kirk Reeder Mantis, another third base prospect, very good on the range and air and double playability. The power is not quite there, but the gap power, eye discipline, and the avoid Ks are all very nice, and the contact's not too bad as well. So good job right there. Good submission. Love to see the good defense. Bats left, throws right. So you don't see many of those people out there, unfortunately. Lansing will select at the 133rd pick Sally Dobbs. So one of the Dobbs players are finally selected in this game. We'll have to see if Sally and her brother Ronnie will end up playing on the same team. So there's another twins setup. Well, not twins, but brother, sister, family member related situation we can look into at that point. And with the 134th pick, the Bismarck Mythics will select Alfonso Soriano. Alfonso Soriano was part of the 2003 game, I believe. So a fun one right there to have a submission for. Tuck Eddy is the Marmots pick next in line. He's a catcher prospect. Very good hitting catcher prospect. What position is Alfonso Soriano? He is a second base right fielder, I believe. He does both positions. He has just a lot of power. That's basically what he is a power hitter. Tuck Eddy, not really the greatest catcher in the world, but the speed, the avoid Ks, the eye discipline, the contact make him very, very good. He'll be an easy fill-in for a catcher position in case you're looking for something like that. If you're needing a catcher by this point in the game, he'll fill the role quite nicely, and he'll do a good enough job. All right. The Queens are up next. Oh, finally we get this person selected. The Queens have selected with the 136th pick, Stephanie Morgan. And you guys can boo that all you want, but that's a good pick right there. That's a good pick. Stephanie is a good shortstop, and definitely going to be a good pick for the Nobles in that regard. The Manatees will select Ramona Bennett. That is not a submitted player, so we'll move on from her, but she is a starting pitcher, I believe. Yes, she is. The Downey Ducks will select Barry Larkin, a shortstop prospect for them. Interesting. And the Durham Goats will select Catherine Asher, who is another generic player, so we won't review her either at this point, but she is also she is a relief pitcher. My apologies. She's a left-handed submarine relief pitcher. The Queens go to Queens. That is very true. Number 140 is Yukino Bijan. I'm probably mispronouncing that completely. Bijan? If I can spell it correctly, too. Yukino Yumahan Bijan is our next person selected at this point. Left field prospect. Across the outfield, he'll be able to play. Good gap power. Very, very good gap power does this person have. So the Toronto Giants select a really good gap power hitter to play the outfield at this point. He's average across the boards in a lot of other areas, but he'll be a very good person for them at this point, and that'll be very, very nice. Louisville has some pretty good players. I have to agree on that. Louisville's making a pretty good-looking lineup at this point. All right, Salem will select Jason Kendall. Congratulations to them. They pick up a pretty good catcher right about there. That's a good pickup for round number 8. Can't believe we're at round number 8 already. But Jason Kendall has been selected. Here we go. Windsor Whistlers have picked up Ray Tracing Tran. That was a fun one. I liked making that nickname. And the Houston Apollos will pick up Richie Sexton. Hard to say that on stream, but yes, they did. And in addition, now we have the two Koalas picks at this point, and they will pick up Nick Jai, which is Joker, and that's a submitted player. So let's review Nick Jai really fast here now, and he actually has some decent hitting ability. So he is a starting pitcher with a good enough fastball, 95-97. He's a fly ball pitcher, however. Has a decent enough curveball and slider to keep him in the starting position at this point in the rotation. But he also has good enough contact that he could technically play maybe first base. Maybe first base at this point. So that's Nick Jai. Congratulations to the Koalas for picking him up. In addition to Nick Jai, they will also be picking Derek McCattery, who is not a submitted player. That is a generic player, unfortunately. The Houston Apollos will pick up Tommy Rugrat Pickles. This is, I believe... Oh, did I not get your picture for this person imported? I don't think I did. My apologies. I'll have to add that in. Tommy Pickles is a submitted second base shortstop prospect. Really good speed. Pretty much a really, really good defending speed demon shortstop with about average hitting ability. He'll be an excellent, excellent person to play behind Pedro Martinez. And who else do they have at shortstop right now? Because they have Pedro. They picked up Ken Griffey Jr. Didn't they pick up Sean Green? They have a third baseman, a pitcher. They might actually need a shortstop. So this is their shortstop of the future right here with Pickles. Congratulations to the Apollos for picking that up. All right. Tom Glass is going to the Windsor Whistlers in pick number 147. That's a generic kid, unfortunately. The Salem Warlocks are picking up Mo Vaughn. Congratulations to them for picking up the DH guy who's never going to play in the infield but has to anyways. The Toronto Giants pick up Alex Axel Murray. Finally, I get drafted. Alex Murray is a very good defending center fielder, probably going to be close to the gold gloves that everybody else is looking for. Speed is good, and eye contact, or eye discipline and avoid Ks are very good. The contact is average. Gap power home runs are a little bit low, but, the sacrifices have to be made in that regard. Is that making us have 4 outfielders for the Giants? Technically, Keisha Phillips is considered a shortstop. So she might be going to the shortstop position. But now I've got to root for the Giants? At least I like their stadium. Like, their stadium's not bad. Although it is artificial turf, so I'm probably going to hurt my knees on that thing. Ugh, didn't think about that. All right. With the 150th pick, the Durham Goats pick Benjamin Mayhew. Ben 10, as his nickname is. We have to play Keisha in the infield. Yeah, I think we're going to have to. Benjamin Mayhew gets drafted by the Durham Goats. A really good center fielder. Pretty much the exact same thing that I was, only a little bit less on the, I think, center field error. So, good gold glove center fielder. Good speed. Good avoid Ks. Eye discipline. Better contact. A little bit less power. That's the difference. A little bit less power, but good submission. Good submission right here. Oh, that was you. Nice. This is a good pick right here. This is a really good pick. The Goats definitely also are going to enjoy having you on their team, so that's a good one right there. Good job. The Downey Ducks would be picking up Robbie Budd. Robbie Budd is another submitted player. This is striker. Another starting pitcher at this point. Good stuff. A lot of green. A little bit of yellow on the movement, so we'll have to see how that goes. Fly ball pitcher, 93-95. Normal arm slot. He actually does have a little bit of hitting ability, and because of his arm, he actually could do a little bit of fielding on the infield. So, interesting about that. But that's Robbie Budd. Congratulations to the Downey Ducks for picking him up. Marty Cordova is the next pick by the Carl Springs Manatees. And you guys can get your booing machines ready for the Nobles again as they pick Eric LeBeau. Eric LeBeau is a catching prospect, one of the generic kids at this point, and the Queens pick up another catcher at this point? Interesting. The Marmots will pick up Johnny Curious George. This is gonna be interesting at this. This is gonna be interesting at this point. Oh, I haven't been showing you guys the drafts information. Duh, wrong screen. My apologies. Johnny George is the next selection. I'm on the wrong screen at this point. My apologies about that. Johnny George, starting pitcher, goes to the Murfreesboro Marmots. That is always going to be hard to say. Knuckleball, fastball, slider, pitcher. Not a lot of movement or control, but good stuff. He's extreme fly ball. So interesting pickup right here by the Marmots. But we'll see how that goes. So I'll put you guys back on the draft board where you're supposed to be for 1 second because we're going to do another player here. Dan Itchy Druff, also known as Dandruff. This is a catching prospect person at this point. High catching ability, good avoid Ks, eye discipline. Hey, we're on the Giants together. Yes, my defense will be a big help for you and our team in general. So this is a very good contact hitting catcher, really good catching ability. If I made a catcher, which would have been my second person, it would have been a catcher. This is what I would have made for my catcher instead. Good arm, good ability, good speed, good discipline again, avoid Ks, contact. Really nice player right here. The problem is that the power is so low. Gotta have the power up higher if you want to get drafted higher than this. So the Mythics get a really good selection with their, that would be number 155 on the list. All right, 156 is going to be Deutery Tikojo. Deutery Tikojo is a starting pitcher, backup starter / emergency starter / bullpen person. Really good stuff. Good fastball, good slider. He's basically all fastball. 96 to 98. Probably would make an excellent relief pitcher / closer. So we'll see what happens. Left-handed throwing fly ball pitcher, unfortunately. He's a power pitcher. He's going to bring the ball in there a lot. We'll see what happens with him. But a good pickup right there for the Lansing Robins. Not a bad job. 157 is going to be Lisa Crockett. So that's a backyard baseball kid. No need to review her. Peter Levine goes to the... if I can spell his name correctly. Peter Levine goes to the Squirrels as 158. And then 159 goes to Yvonne Carter, another generic player at this point, so no need to review him either. 160 goes to the Swatters, and it's Computer Nerd. Intalati, this is going to be a shortstop prospect at this point. Good shortstop prospect as well. Good contact, high discipline, avoid Ks. That's going to be the common denominator is they have good contact, good speed, and amazing fielding. So a good job right there. Another really good defending shortstop as people are starting to fill up on the defenders, it feels like at this point. Speaking of shortstops, that's what the next person picked up too. The Captains picked up Jimmy Rollins. Congratulations to them for that pickup. And even more defense and speed, the Pioneers pick up Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton, center field, right field, left field person. Kenny Lofton with a lot of speed. Later in the years for Kenny Lofton, unfortunately, but still a really good pickup at this point. I think the list is fine. I don't see any problems at the moment. Oh, is Yvonne Carter on two different teams? Hold on. For both the Squirrels and the Cluckers. Hold on. I probably have the wrong one. Why is that incorrect? Yep. Why is that wrong? That's supposed to be 158. There you guys go. Thank you for catching that, guys. I did not notice that. There. That should be what you guys were looking for. Peter Levine was supposed to be on that team. I have to do all of this draft board manually, just so you guys are aware. So all of it is manually entered, and then it refers to other entries to fill spots. So it's a mess. If it goes wrong, let me know, because that's, Computer Nerd. We reviewed Computer Nerd, I believe. He was a shortstop prospect. He was pick number 160 to the... who was that to? That was to the Swatters, I believe. How did he get on a team? On my team, this is an outrage? Oh, it's going to get worse. I'm just kidding. It's not going to get worse. All right. Anywho, the next pick The Portland Pioneers are picking up another person. They're picking up Thumper, oh Thumper, McThumpers. Try saying that 5 times fast. We're just going to call him Oh Thumper. This guy hits a lot of home runs and is a really good catcher. So he's going to have a lot of good catching ability. I think I just completely blew out my microphone for a second there. My apologies. Good catching ability, good power, a little bit of good pop on this guy. Thumper, oh Thumper, my Thumper. That's basically what it is. Oh Thumper, my Thumper. 23-year-old, right-handed, batting catcher prospect joins the Portland Pioneers. So a good job right there. The Virginia Beach Captains. Ooh, here we go. Star Moonbeam. The Virginia Beach Captains have selected Star Moonbeam to be their center fielder. That's going to be a fun one right about there. The Louisville Swatters have picked up Annie Frazier with their 165th overall pick. And the 166th pick goes to the Kansas City Cluckers, and it is Andy Lambert. Another generic kid at this point, another pitcher. So interesting about that. Oh, let's see. The Squirrels pick up Ronnie Dobbs. Did they pick up Sally by any chance? No, they didn't. Oh. Who did Sally get picked by? Now I gotta remember who Sally got picked by at this point. A few of the catchers, Sally went to Lansing. Darn it. Lambert. Do I have another Lambert? It might have been you, and I might have misplaced it, but what is your character's name? I rock this. What was your character's name? Just in case I accidentally didn't type it in correctly, or I mispronounced it, or misdid it. Because I don't want to make them... Yeah, I have not been chosen. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. That'd be the last thing that I want to do is miss somebody. Anywho. Oh, keep moving on. The Memphis Kings with the pick 168. We'll be picking Dante Robinson, one of the faster infield prospects on our list. The Lansing Robins will pick up Linda Potter. And I always think of It's a Wonderful Life whenever I say the word Potter. Or Harry Potter. It could be either or. The Bismarck Mythics will pick up Marky Du Bois, one of the relief pitching prospects that are out there. And another of the additional backyard baseball kids. The next person selected by the Marmots is going to be Ricky Johnson, the second base prospect, second base player, really, really tall player, plays for the Marmots. And you guys can get your booings back out again at this point. We're going to be doing a selection for the Queen Nobles, and it is going to be Chucky Flinder. I have no idea who that is. A generic player. He's not even that good. So, I mean, he's not bad, but he's not that good. He's not that good. Look, there are 4 girls on my team. Locker room will be fun at least. It's going to be interesting at least. That's for sure. The Coral Spring Manatees have selected Andy Hayes. This is Andy Beavis Hayes. Congratulations. I think this is This player. Andy Hayes has joined the Coral Springs Manatees. Very, very good third base defender. Good enough speed. Quite the average hitter across the board. Quite a good submission. Definitely feel like he could have gone a couple picks earlier, I think. But not bad pick right here. Andy Hayes, right, line drive hitter joining the Coral Spring Manatees. So good job right there. Good. Nope, not you. I thought I got you at the Andy part. Let's see. So next one is Linus Riverboat. He goes to play for the Downey Ducks. And I don't know if this is a submitted player, but we're going to review it like it is. You're a second baseman? Okay. I think Shooter McGavin got picked a long time ago, Sheeply King. I think he got picked a long time. Linus Riverboat, good defending catcher, good speed, not a lot of hitting, but definitely going to be up there on the defense at this point, so we'll see how good this guy does. The Stiff Snorkeler is his nickname as he bats, switch, throws right. Ground ball hitter, extreme pole ground ball hitter too. So interesting. Carrying on, we have the Durham Goats, and they will be picking up Esther French. Esther French. She's a generic person, so we're not going to touch base on her. The Giants pick up Isabel Morelli, who is also a generic player, so we're not going to pick on her either. The Salem Warlocks will pick up Tony Delvecchio, so we're not going to see the Delvecchio siblings together, unfortunately, and that's a bummer, unfortunately, but we'll have to see about that. The Windsor Whistlers pick up Dmitry Petrovich, another backyard baseball player at that point. The Apollos, Houston Apollos, will pick up Chris Milton, another starting pitcher, I believe, at this point. And the Kanata Koalas have 2 picks at this point. They will pick up Beery McBourbon. Let me see if I can get his profile. I'm going to let you guys just read this guy's name and just try to make sense of it yourself. Beery McBourbon, also known as Badizzle. This is a good catching prospect, good enough hitting abilities all across the board, good speed, and just fantastic catching ability. He's going to be a very good prospect for his Kanata Koalas team. He'll be a lot of fun to watch, and we'll just see what happens with him. So, yeah. So that was Birai, and he joins the Koalas, and the Koalas after him will draft Veronica Lee, who is also supposedly a catcher. So we'll have to see. Oh, no, she can play anywhere. Never mind. Veronica Lee can play anywhere she wants. No worries about that. The Houston Apollos will pick Diana Hayes, a pitcher. The Windsor Whistlers will pick up Andy the G Greenberg. This is a first base prospect. Very good first base prospect. And a lot of speed. Not a lot of hitting, unfortunately. But Andy the G, very good prospect right here. Really good defensive ability at first base. I'm surprised that we don't let him play other positions, but right now he's going to play just first base, and he'll play it amazingly. So Andy joins the Windsor Whistlers as their first baseman. Congratulations to the Whistlers. A good pickup right there, actually, in fact. Salem will pick up Chrissy Mulligan, which is a generic player, so we'll probably pass her. The Toronto Giants pick up Uma Morris, another generic player, so we'll probably pass her as well. The Durham Goats will pick up Johnny Omar, again, another generic player. And the Ducks will continue the trend with Stan Olafson. Stan Olafson joins the Downey Ducks as their catcher/utility player. The Manatees will pick up Jose Meisenhauer. Meisenheier. Jose Meisenhauer. And the Queens will pick up Wing Quan. This was one of the more interesting names in our entire system, but Ming Quan is going to be joining the Queens Nobles, so you guys can go ahead and boo her if you want to. Go ahead. You guys can go ahead and do that. And yes, we will be reviewing at the last round the last 18 or 19 players, and we will finally get around to seeing which one is not drafted. And we'll let you guys give us a little bit of a prediction on who you think is not going to be drafted. Molly May is going to be the 190th overall pick going to the Marmots. And then Isaac Drummond is going to be the 191st pick going to the Mythics. We have not had a submitted player for a very long time, and I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about this. Chris Jacob is the 192nd pick, and he is, I believe, a submitted player. I'm going to make the entire league pay. Oh, no. I mean, we do have 2 more rounds, so I'm assuming that all of our picks are going to get in. And if you don't see your pick, let me know, because I did get everybody. I was certain I got everybody. And if not, I will pull people out and put you guys in. All right? All right. Chris Jacob. CJ is his nickname. Good defending shortstop and second base prospect. Good speed, good of eye and discipline, good avoid K. Average contact, really poor home run ability and gap power. But again, one of those defensive, defining baseball as a designated runner. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So yes, Chris Jacob joins the Lansing Robins as their probably second base shortstop prospect. So not bad. Not bad. Walter Hall is the 193rd pick, going to the Memphis Kings. Kendra Yarbrough goes to the Centennial Squirrels. Another generic player. Here we go. Here's finally somebody. I think. Isn't this somebody? Yes, it is. Will Nay goes to the Kansas City Cluckers. Good defensive catcher at this point. Good speed. Great gap power. And overall, not a bad player with the contact, home run, eye discipline, avoid Ks, all averaging out. Not a bad player at all. So, good pickup right there. And that defense is actually better the more I look at it, to be honest. That's actually really good. That'll do a good job. So, even if you're a backup, it's not a problem. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Wrong screen. Thank you. There you guys go. My apologies. I'll let you guys take a look at that real fast while I get some water. There we go. So, catcher ability, pretty good. As I mentioned, speed's right up there. The gap power is amazing. Very, very nicely done at this point. And then average hitting all across the board. So good pickup right there by Will, for Will Nay going to the Kansas City Cluckers. So good job. All right. Louisville has the next pick, and they will pick up Giuseppe Pachasa. I think that's a custom player. No, it's not. I just added a nickname to it, so never mind. All right, next person on the list is going to be J.D. Epps. This is also known as Slim. Slim is a third base prospect. Pretty good defending third base prospect. Good gap power. He pretty much averages out a lot of his abilities, so it's pretty good. You guys will start to notice that a lot of the submissions start to average out a little bit. But not a bad thing to have the air and double play ability from Epps at third base. Might look at converting him to a second baseman at this point, but yes, he's shady. He is the Jim Shady. Or is that Slim Shady? I don't remember. I don't follow that stuff, unfortunately. So you guys have to let me know if that's correct. Slim Shady, right? He is the Slim Shady. So yes, this is JD at this point, and he joins the Virginia Beach Captains. So congratulations to them. Portland has 2 pickups. They will pick up Vicky Kawaguchi is going to be the pickup for them for the first time, and then the second one is going to be Holly Franklin. So they picked up both players that we don't have to review. The 200th overall pick goes to the Virginia Beach Captains, and they pick Mickey O'Connor. Louisville picks up Alex Simon, an outfield prospect, center fielder by trait. This is Salamander. Let's review Salamander really fast. There we go. Swatters pick up a very good prospect, center fielder, outfielder, good speed, good hitting ability. I'm surprised he went this late, to be honest. That's actually a really good player right about there. Ground ball hitter, unfortunately, but that speed and defense are very, very nice. So good pickup right there by the Louisville Swatters. As we finish up, I think we're finishing up round 12 here. And let's see, we just finished. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got a lot left, unfortunately, but we'll keep going. Frankie Holly was the next pick by the Kansas City Cluckers. The Squirrels will pick up Jorge Garcia. So if you haven't been drafted yet at this point, guys, my apologies. Whitney Singh goes to the Memphis Kings. Nick Lundstrom goes to the Lansing Robins. This is a second base prospect. Second base prospect with very good fielding abilities. Overall, averaging out the speed, the contact, and power are all averaging out at this point, but would make a very good second base fielder and would be decent enough to be able to get a starting position at this point. I have no problem with that. And he's a right ground ball hitter, spray hitter, ground ball tendency. So interesting. Yeah, if you're not drafted, please report. Please report to the alternate site, and we'll look at you guys. So not bad. Nick Lundstrom's not a bad pickup right there. The Bismarck Mythics pick up Andrew Fox. And I do believe that's finally somebody's pick in here at this point. Andrew Fox has been selected to the Bismarck Mythics. Congratulations. The second baseman has really good fielding. I'm actually surprised he lasted this long. Good range, good arm. He can play second, he can play short. Good speed, good bunting ability, good contact, gap power, eye discipline, avoid Ks, averaging out. So the hitting is average, but the fielding's quite good. That's definitely going to make you a player, and the speed is fantastic. Could easily be a number 9 hitter or a leadoff hitter if they don't have a better leadoff hitter on the team at this point. And a right shortstop, second base prospect, not bad. Not bad at all. So I rock this. I believe this is your character right here. So congratulations. You have joined the Bismarck Mythics. The Marmots picked up Mariana Ralph, which is a generic player, so we're not going to review her. The Queen's Nobles. This is perfect. Anybody who knows the game knows this was the player that kind of everybody didn't really like, kind of liked to hate, so your boos can be good here. They picked up Reese Worthington. And it's not that we hated him, it's just that he just kind of came off weird in the game, in my opinion. So Reese Worthington joins the Nobles. And there come the boos. The Coral Spring Manatees will select Gary Allen, an outfield prospect, but not a submitted player. The Downey Ducks will pick up Rufus Lumberjack Roughcut. And Rufus Lumberjack Roughcut is actually a pretty good player. I don't know why they're going this late, in all honesty. Good fielding ability. You've got good speed, good gap power, average hitting across the board, average bunting across the board. It's not bad pickup. Just being left off the plate until the last end of the road, because this is a good play. This is a good pick right here. This is a steal. So the Downey Ducks get another good steal with Rufus Roughcut. So congratulations to Rufus, I believe. I believe that's his pickup right there. The Durham Goats. We're down to our last, 6 picks, and then we'll look at the last 19 players. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody gets left off. We'll see what happens. Anywho, Vincent Wicker gets picked up by the Durham Goats, the shortstop prospect. Wow, this is really good. Top speed, top ability to play the infield, second base, shortstop's very good, avoid Ks, very good, eye discipline's average, contact's average, gap power, home run ability are very low, but a good pickup right here by the Durham Goats, fills a second base, shortstop need, and really quite good at this point. Really, really quite good. I mean, what's amazing is we haven't seen Gretchen Hasselhoff, and we did see Jorge Garcia, but we haven't seen, who's the other person we haven't seen? Kimmy Ekman. We haven't seen Kimmy Ekman or Gretchen Hasselhoff. And those two are supposedly the worst baseball players in the Backyard Baseball franchise. So if you guys get drafted after them, that's a problem. Before, you're fine, but after, it's a problem. All right, so back to our draft list. We have 5 more until we do our predictions. And finally, Bobby Bacon Bits is drafted. The Toronto Giants have picked up Bacon Bits. The elite outfielder joins the already quite full outfield of the Giants, which is going to be a little bit interesting. Interesting to see what happens with Bacon at this point, because I don't know if he ends up getting slotted to left field. I would imagine he goes to left or right. Probably right field at this point. But Bobby Bacon Bits has been drafted by the Toronto Giants. Congratulations to whoever submitted eggs and ham, please. We just need to draft those people next at this point. And the Salem Warlocks will draft Mathurin Gray. This is Matt, by all accounts. Another outfielder, another defensive outfielder. Very good outfielder, good speed, good avoid Ks, good eye discipline. Another person who I think should have gone probably around earlier at this point, but Mathurin Gray, Matt, switch hitting, right-handed throwing outfielder has been drafted. And that's actually a pretty good steal right there. That's actually really good. Definitely good for the Salem Warlocks. It's going to be a good pickup for them at this point, so I'm very happy about that. The Windsor Whistlers. We're down to our last 3. We'll pick up Billy Mendelson. And he's a generic player, so we're not going to review him. The Houston Apollos pick up Wally Evans. And the last person to be drafted before we look at the last 19 players, the Koalas pick up Billy Blackwood. Billie Jean Blackwood. So if you have not been drafted, you just got drafted after Billie Jean Blackwood, and I feel sorry for you. My apologies. So, we do have... Wow, I didn't even realize he hadn't gotten drafted yet. So we have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 submitted players who haven't been drafted at this point. So let's review. The last 19 players on this draft are a bunch of catchers, a bunch of shortstops, and a bunch of center fielders. We have Gretchen Hasselhoff. In fact, I'll review all these people. Gretchen Hasselhoff is considered one of the worst players in this game. Now, we'll see about this. We'll see about what this looks like. But Gretchen is on the list for people that might be drafted last. We also have Paco Kaufman. This is another generic player, not a submitted player. And we'll see what happens with this person as well. Ian Levitt, also known as Iceman. I believe this is a submitted player at this point. Another of our long list of center fielders who are really good defensively and good speed, but not very good hitting. So we definitely have one person right here who could potentially be a submitted player, not drafted. Will Smith. I'm really surprised he hasn't been drafted because that looks pretty good. I think he'll probably be one of the next people to go at this point. Good outfield ability, good speed, good eye discipline, avoid Ks, gap power. He looks pretty good. I don't feel like he's going to be not drafted at this point. I think he's pretty good. So I think Will Smith definitely gets in on a team. I don't feel like he's going to be going out. Olga Tolofsen, she might be the one person that doesn't get drafted. Her defense is a little bit shoddy. Her speed is good. Her hitting is not as good, but I know there's worse. I know there is worse. Alexis Weiss is another generic player. Her fielding's not great. Her speed's good, and her hitting's too good. She'll be drafted. Most likely than not, she'll be drafted. Kathy Wolf, she's not good, but she has way too much defense and speed. I don't feel like as if she won't be drafted. I think she'll be drafted. I think she'll be one of the last picks, though. Cindy Chang is definitely on my list of someone that I think is not going to be drafted. Even though she has amazing ability to play, I don't think that she gets drafted solely because she can't hit anything. So I don't think Cindy Chang gets drafted at all. I don't think that's going to happen. Here's the big one. Alex Gonzalez is still on the draft board. This was an imported pro player. He's on the last round. So if you guys thought this was a rough draft, this is the example of how rough it got. This is an imported pro player. He is not gone at all until the final round. So don't feel bad at all, guys, about your player not getting drafted, because Alex Gonzalez hasn't gotten drafted at all. So he is the worst pro player in the game. Andres Fernando Polares is another person who could be a backup infielder. I'm certain he'll get drafted. I don't see any reason why someone won't pick up a second base shortstop prospect like this. There's just way too many options to pick him up. Judah Powers, same position. Good fielding second base shortstop. Probably going to go in the next 3 or 4 picks, I would imagine. Trent Sizemore is a really good pickup right here. He's got so many good places to go in the outfield. Yeah, someone says Alex Gonzalez doesn't get drafted. Yeah, Andres will get picked up. Cheese truck. Don't worry about that. He'll definitely be either a starting second base shortstopper someplace. And if not a starter, he'll be a backup, which is fine. Trent Sizemore, I don't see him not getting drafted. Stuart Sullivan, he might get undrafted, actually. This is someone who might get undrafted, actually. Machiko Adachi, I could see her not getting drafted as well, but her fielding ability is just so good. I just don't see her not getting drafted. And Kimmy Ekman's in the same boat where it's like, okay, you need a catcher. You need a backup player. You got to pick Kimmy at this point because her catching ability is just good enough. Even though you don't want her to hit, she'll be good enough on the behind the dish. You just need her. Jerry Mahoney, he hits a bit better than Kimmy does, but the fielding's a bit worse. I'm not quite sure. So we'll see about that. And then I think the last one is Lena Eng. Lena Eng's got to get drafted. She has way too good hitting, speed, and defense. There's no way she doesn't get drafted at this point. And then Scotty Roth. I'm sorry, there was one more. I think there's two more, actually. Womack. Yeah, Scotty Roth and Womack. So Scotty Roth, too good of a fielder. He'll play different positions. Someone will pick him up. And then Vladimir Womack. Oh, it might be Womack, actually. I could see it being Chang, Womack, or Sullivan. I think those three are my go-to picks for who I think it's going to be, because I think Sullivan's a hard reach because he could play outfield, and I think people will pick him for the outfield. So I don't know about that. But what do you guys think? Out of all of these players, if we review them on their batting ratings, because in the end, it's really going to come down to, do you think it's Wolf, Sullivan, Chang? Those are kind of the main people. It could be Kimmy Ekman, but I think her defense is too good. Trent Sizemore's defense is too good. I think he'll be drafted. And then everybody else above these people are almost certainly going to get drafted, although you could say Alex Gonzalez and just leave it as it is. I don't know. Someone's going with Womack, Chang, Ekman. Chang would get picked last. Sullivan, going Alex Gonzalez, who are competent at a position. I don't think Alex Gonzalez is competent at his position. I could see that. I could see that. A lot of Changs. Alex Gonzalez. Chang is the clear worst hitter. Yes. The A seems to be going heavy on the batting stats of Chang. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think Chang's a pretty good choice. I think she's almost the surefire drop out of everybody. But, as soon as you guys are done with your predictions, I don't know how I'm going to record them, unfortunately. I mean, I can look at the chat afterwards when I review the stream. I might review it that way. If Dishnet, if you don't want to write these down, you could copy paste the chat into something. Oh, there we go. That works. That works. Yeah, I think it's going to be either Sullivan, Chang, or Alex Gonzalez. Those seem to be, outside of other, would be Womack. Maybe Womack might be the other person that we might think about. But I think it's going to be Cindy Chang. I think it's going to be Cindy Chang. A lot of people saying it's going to be Chang for sure. Here come the votes. Someone saying Womack. I mean, you can say other. You can absolutely say other. That is an option. Not sure if the team has enough catchers. I could see that. It would be hilarious if Alex Gonzalez did not get drafted. The one pro player that's just like, yeah, no, we don't need him. What? What do you mean you don't need a professional player? Well, because again, we're not looking at defensive replacements ever in this game. You only get, you can get more than 8 hitters, but most teams are trying to do 8 hitters and 5 pitchers. That's the approach. So a lot of people, Ekman, 0 redeeming stats. That's actually true. Her ability to play baseball was not great. She has a little bit of pop, but that's really it. That's really it. All right, you guys ready for this? Let's do this. The last 18 picks, one person will be left off of the teams. One person gets to walk home empty-handed. And the first pick of the final round with the Kanata Koalas selecting Lena Eng, a catching prospect. The Houston Apollos will pick up Ian Iceman Levitt, a center field prospect, submitted player, I believe. So congratulations to whoever's character is Ian's. Finally getting drafted here in the final round. Good center field backup prospect, good speed, good hitting. Again, definitely was going to be one of our top 3 picks in this round. Was not going to go last. So a good job right there. Inge. Oh, it's pronounced Inge. Okay. The game had always pronounced it as Leah Eng. And I don't know why. Inge. Okay, Leah Inge. I'll have to remember that. All right. The Windsor Whistlers will pick up Alexis Weiss. That's another outfield prospect, another generic outfield player. The Salem Warlocks will pick up Alex Gonzalez, destroying the hopes and dreams of all of chat that a pro player would not get drafted. So the Salem Warlocks pick up the last pro player. I mean, it was only one voter in the poll that did Alex Gonzalez, so I'm not going to put too much into that right now. But yes. Toronto, the Toronto Giants will pick up Andres Fernando Palares. So we finally have another of our submitted players entered into the game. Let's take a look at Fernando real fast again. This was the more better hitting backup second base shortstop prospect, so a good one right there. I'm actually really glad. I think that's on my team. Aren't I on the Giants? Yeah, it's a good pick right there. That's a good pick for us. I'm happy about that. Going back to the draft board, let's see what happens next. The Durham Goats will pick up Jerry Mahoney, a catching prospect. Generic catching prospect, unfortunately, so not anybody important on our list. Jerry Mahoney goes to the Durham Goats. The Downey Ducks will pick up Olga Tollefson. Tollefson, I believe. The center field backup prospect at this point. Chang. Oh, good grief. The Coral Springs Manatees pick up Paco Kaufman. Another generic player, I believe. Another generic backup outfielder. The Queens Nobles. You guys can boo. Wouldn't it be amazing if they pick up Cindy Chang here? No, they will not. The Queens Nobles will pick up Will Smith, the backup center fielder who also has a little bit of hitting as well. Very good right field, left field prospect at this point. Good speed, good gap power. I'm kind of surprised he managed to get this far into the draft. I mean, look at this, guys. This is the last pick that the team will make. Ooh, my apologies. This is a great pick. Yeah, you can retract your boos for this one, guys. This is a great pick. Like, this is ridiculously good. I'm going to sneeze again for Pete's sake. That's how good it is. Oh. No, it didn't come. Okay, good. Whew. Okay, so that is Will Smith selected by the Queens Nobles. Murfreesboro will pick up Machiko Adachi, who I do not believe is a submitted player. Yeah, that's a default player. So Bismarck is next. The Bismarck Mythics will pick up Judah Powers. So congratulations to Yudali. Udall is now the backup shortstop, second baseman, or starting second base shortstop for the Bismarck Mythics. Right-handed batting, right-handed throwing, middle infielder at this point. So congratulations there. And Neil Will made it to Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, hey, you were still relevant enough in the final round. We actually had to do a whole entire debate about whether or not you were going to be drafted. So, hey, you were important to us. Trent Sizemore goes to the Lansing Robins, the backup middle infielder there. So we're getting down and down on the size. The people left are Gretchen Hasselhoff, Scotty Roth, Vladimir Womack, Kimmy Ekman, Kathy Wolf, Stuart Sullivan, and Cindy Chang. Everyone but one of those players must be drafted. Everyone but one of them. This is going to be ridiculous. The Memphis Kings have selected Scotty Roth. The backup catcher prospect is a pretty good one as well. I don't think he was a submitted player. No, he was not. He's actually a backup utility player, so congratulations to them. The Centennial Squirrels will pick up Gretchen Hasselhoff. The Hoff is off the list. And we are now left to the last 4 picks. Kansas City, Louisville, Virginia Beach, and Portland. Let us see who it's going to be. The Kansas City Cluckers with the 231st. I can't believe we've done 231 picks. Select Vladimir Womack. And all the Womack fans in the chat are destroyed. Oh, Vladimir Womack is off the board. Everyone wanted it to be Womack. Which leaves us down to Ekman, Kathy Wolf, Stuart Sullivan, and Cindy Chang. So let's see who it's going to be. The Louisville Sluggers, with the third to last pick, select, oh my gosh, Cindy Chang. Oh my gosh. Why? Why would you select Cindy Chang? Oh my goodness me. Why? Why would you? Oh dear. Oh man, this is bad. This is bad. Oh, good grief. Cindy Chang goes in the 232nd spot to the Louisville Swatters, destroying everybody's expectations. Oh my gosh, so it means it's down to 3 people. Kimmy Ekman, Kathy Wolf, and Stuart Sullivan, a catcher, a center fielder, and a shortstop. So who expected it to be one of those 3 people? Like, seriously, who expected that? With the 233rd pick, the Virginia Beach Captains have selected Twinkle Toes Kimmy Ekman, which means we are looking at a 2-way race between Sullivan and Wolf. This is a really bad 2-way race, by the way, guys. This is not the good race. This is the who is last place, who gets to go home. And we get it down between 2 different people. Let me go ahead and compare them real fast so you guys can see what the differences are. It's going to become a matchup, a battle of the beasts, battle of the, level 1 beasts. Stuart Sullivan versus Kathy Wolf. Their batting equally sucks. Their defense is equally interesting and equally not so interesting. Make your final predictions on who you believe is going to be done between these 2. Battle of the leasts. They're very similar profiles. They really are. 100% Sally or Sully. Everyone thinks it's going to be Sullivan. Sullivan looks worse. Wolf will get drafted. Sully, Kathy. Kathy, Sully, Sullivan's going home. Sullivan's gone. Sully. Okay, I think we're going to be believing it's Sullivan. And I could see that. Sullivan has absolutely 0 abilities in this league. With the final draft pick, draft number 200, pick number 234, the Portland Pioneers select Kathy Wolf. Stuart Sullivan is out. Congratulations to everybody who got drafted onto teams. Thank you guys so much for watching this draft. It took forever, but I loved it. The teams should be up on your screen right now. You can look and see if you were drafted, where you were drafted. A lot of these teams have some pretty interesting pickups at this point. I hope you guys all managed to pick a team that you would like to root for. We will not be playing the first games today, I'm afraid, guys. I'm sorry. I have to make sure this actually is going to work without any issues. I've tested it twice, but I need to test it more. So I know it works, but I want to make sure that now we've got the draft done, all of the teams have to be managed correctly, and we have to make sure it does a good job. So take a good, long, hard look at those lists, guys. If you aren't on any of those teams, if you didn't submit a player, pick a team. Pick a team and root for them, because we're going to be watching all of these 18 teams play over the course of the next, 4 weeks? We're going to be doing simulations on Saturdays, not 3 hours, 40 minutes, but definitely at least an hour. Every single Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing a Science Saturday stream, watching these kids play with the 13 players per team, and I hope you guys pick a team you want to root for, because that's what makes it so much fun, is being able to have those rivalries and teams being able to just watch the teams play. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll probably post this page, the one you're looking at right now, on our Discord, so anybody who was not involved can see where people went. I sure hope you all had a fun time with today. I know it was a long stream. I gotta stay for 5 more minutes for reasons. I still gotta close, so don't worry about that. So we have a lot to do for this league. I hope you guys had a lot of fun being able to watch this live draft and all of the really cool teams that are going to be involved with this. So I hope you guys just were able to just enjoy a super duper long stream that will never happen again. And I will see you all next Saturday. We will be kicking off opening day and probably picking one team to watch every single time they play, because every single team plays on Wednesdays and Sundays. So we'll be watching probably 1 or 2 games every single Saturday for a week, maybe 2 to 4 if we can get through stuff, and we'll see what we can do about all that. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had a fun time being able to see all this live draft. I hope you got drafted to the teams you wanted to get drafted to. If there's any trades that have to happen, I will let you know about those next Saturday. But otherwise, guys, that is it for now. That was episode 1 of the Backyard Project. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next Saturday. Bye-bye.